Hello, everyone. Sorry, we were just hyping everybody to jump on this through our Zoom and YouTube links on Instagram. Thank you, everyone that has been waiting patiently. We're super excited for today. Thank you, Abdul Wahab, for joining us again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is one of this is actually one of my one of the dearest workshop. One of my actually favorite workshops to ever give, and typically I don't.
Oh no.
He left or no?
Abdul Wahab.
What happened?
Oh no. The dude's Wi-Fi came to him, I guess.
I disconnected.
Maybe let me message him.
Yeah.
It is.
We lost you for a second.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, like I said, I mean, this is one of my favorite workshops because it's you will take a different, interesting aspect of it, and you'll definitely see what I'm talking about. But I think relationship for me is a way of living. I mean, I think we all, human beings. I mean, we're social creatures. I mean, and so for us, nurturing and cherishing and getting getting the right relationship without putting ourselves in a position where we find that right position, that right partner. It just set ourselves into a lot of different exciting things in life. So like I said, I'm very, very pumped up about today.
Well, we are too. I know I am. So I'm going to turn off my camera, grab my journal and my pen, so that we're going to be taking notes. So I'll leave it all to you, Abdul Wahab.
Perfect. Let me just rename my name real quick because then I have it as the company one, but give me a second. Perfect. And should we start right away or should we give it a couple more seconds?
You know what? It's actually beautiful. People jumped in. We have about 20 participants on here and 3 participants on the YouTube live.
Maybe a couple more minutes?
Give it about like 2 more minutes maybe.
Sure.
But how's everyone doing today? What are you guys excited about?
Yeah, looking forward to this session, man. Literally been waiting for it all day.
Man, but I mean, the exciting part about it, this is actually one of the positive thing, but it's also an interesting one. That we're gonna be, a lot of the individuals that they are gonna be joining us today, who actually currently are involved in some type of relationships. This is gonna be an interesting one because it's gonna be a lot of a lot of thinking about the relationship, a lot of just processing. And so if you have a partner that's a husband, a wife, just someone you start to talking to and things like that, and they might benefit from being on this workshop. I mean, literally just send them a quick text and urge them to just hop on it, because I think having couples to be on the same page is definitely a critical part of everything we do. And I tell everyone, to be honest with you, if we do more of these workshops prior to marriages and prior to engagements and prior to actually people getting involved in relationships, it will save us a lot of time and energy. And think one of the I want to just be honest with you, one of the reasons why that pushed me to do relationships in general when it comes to coaching is just that the divorce rates in our community. And I want to be 100% honest with you. I want to be 100% transparent with you. It's scary, so for us, and why? Because people tend to wait until problems start to happen, and then they're trying to become reactive, trying to fix things. But if we do it right, becoming proactive from day one, understanding what we want and what we needs and wants, respect each other's spaces, respect each other from all level, and then start to build that, I mean, we'll save ourselves a lot of headache on the long run. So we'll take about another second. So if you have a partner, just pick up your phone and text them the link, and and definitely urge them to hop on today's workshop. I think it's going to be very beneficial, so all of you guys will be on the same page. Tabar, give me the green light and we'll dive right into it.
We'll give everybody 2 minutes to get on those phone calls, to get on those text messages, send it to a friend, send it, keep sending it.
Yes.
Someone said, Tweety, get Maya Jama.
Yep. I love it.
At the 1 minute mark, we could
Perfect.
start.
So we'll dive right away in 5:20. Inshallah. Khair.
For everyone that's joining us on our YouTube live right now, we are going to be starting in 1 minute.
You guys are way too much, but I love it. All right, it's 5:20. Let's get it started. All right, so today's, as I mentioned in the preview before we got started, we'll do the same exact format. You understand the topic. The topic is, finding yourself and then finding your significant other or finding your better half. So we'll take about a second or two, let's say a minute or two, for you to write different questions or different thoughts that you want to get answered while we go through with today's workshop. And this is something that, I mean, just one disclaimer before we get in. Whenever we start to talk about whatever we talk about today, if you are currently in a relationship or you are pursuing a relationship, today is going to trigger a lot of different emotions, some comparisons, some revelations, some things that's just going to get popping into your mind. And if you're not into something or you are in the process of talking to somebody, it's good. I mean, again, if to evaluate those different relationships, write everything down, anything in your subconscious, any thoughts, anything that comes up, put that down on a piece of paper. Because like I said, when you go back to it a day from now, 2 days from now to process, you're going to start to see where this emotions, like, why did you feel the way you felt? Why did you think about this person versus that person? And you're going to start writing these different things down. Perfect. So we'll give you guys about a minute, write these things down. Any questions that you would like to get answered by the end of today's workshop, please put that down on paper. For some of the new folks that just jumped in and joined us today, please get a pen and paper, different colors, highlighters if you have to, and jump in. Now, let me show you guys something while you guys are doing this. Here's my colors collection. So I'm very colorful, so I love that. Take about 30 more seconds. All right. So yesterday, the last thing we ended our workshop with yesterday, that I gave each and every one of you guys a homework to start to figure out who you truly are as an individual, as part of that self-love, and self-discovery. And one of the things that we ask you guys to do is to write down a list of 100 things that, positive things about yourself. Hopefully you at least started the conversation. We also ask you guys to send some text messages to some 5 people that you thought knew you best, and for to gather their thoughts process as far as what they thought of you, some positive few things. So hopefully you already started with that process to start to get some momentum as far as who you truly are, right? The next phase of, after you discover self-discovery and find out who you are, the next thing is for you to ask yourself, What do I deserve, right? And that's a very critical question. So please write that down. What do I deserve in life in general? We talked about 6 different areas, and some of you guys are working on 7 different areas, 8 different areas, 4 different areas in your life that you thought very, very, very critical to you. So the question would become, what do I deserve in this? What do I deserve as a job? I deserve, and some of the answers could be, I deserve the best job. I deserve to make the most money. I deserve to have the best partner. I deserve to have the best car, the fanciest clothes, the best meals, so, and when you start to tackle, each and every single area of it, one of the most important part is, like, as far as finding a partner, is you answering that question by saying, I deserve to have the best partner, right? And consciously and subconsciously, when we get into relationships in general, our ultimate goal is to get married, right? I mean, start a family, get things moving, and get things established in that sense. Some people will say, well, I'm not ready right now, but I'm ready maybe in a year, 2 years, 3 years. So I'm getting into the process, trying to get this, someone, and build that trust with them. And so but hopefully the ultimate goal, as far as what you're doing, as far as finding a partner, is to get into, getting married, opening, starting a family, having kids, and move forward. And sometimes we'll say, well, I don't want kids, whatever that is, that's your own preference. But the concept of it, you asking yourself that I deserve to be in the best relationship ever, or to have the best partner ever. And that's something, as after you discover yourself, you need to, ask that question. Hopefully that's the question that you'll ask. So we wanted to talk about, how to find yourself, right? After you discovered yourself, as far as, your strengths and weaknesses and things like that, and then you became ready to go on this journey to discover, and you're ready or you're not ready to go to that next step. We're going to talk a little bit about different ways that you can find yourself, and if you feel like, like at that point, like lost in this process. Some of us, like, we'll go through this journey with experiences, with baggages, with ups and downs, with, failed relationships, with upbringings, no relationships, whatever that is, that where you at in the journey. Literally before this workshop, I had a client in Turkey, amazing workshop, amazing session with him. And first time, he's ready to get married, never dated in his life, first time ever. And we're just going through the baby steps as far as how to discover yourself and where you at this point to go to that next level. It was an amazing session. So a few things that we're going to talk about today. Number one, once you start to feel like, you are ready to take that next step to work on that relationship, I want you to think about, to start to feel everything. That's number one, feeling everything. What do I mean about that? Paying attention to yourself, like, your mood, your overall demeanor. I mean, are you feeling excited? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling, just negatively having different thoughts about what's going on? Are you positively looking at it? Just feeling everything around you and paying attention to your emotion while going through the process of that self-discovery to find yourself. Why? Because a lot of times, like, we tend to block down, like, some just urges, or just emotions and things, like, like you see someone that you feel like this person is going to be like, like, I would like to talk to this person, but we have all these fears that will kick in, and we have all these different insecurities and things like that, and you do not want to, move forward, so you decide just to shut down everything else and just keep moving in life. So what I mean about feeling everything is to allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to go through the emotions, and paying attention to those different emotions by writing them down. If you feel excited while you're talking to someone, if your heart beats, so fast, if you get, anxious about talking to that person, if you're shy, if you feel connected, if you feel like you're just comfortable, you're having the dialogue and things are working out, great. I want you guys to capture those different things, right? And, in your mind, to put all these different things in papers. Remember, we all agreed that we are going to walk around with a planner everywhere we go. So the minute you start to get all these different thoughts, I would like for you to take all these different things. I want you to write them down. So that's number one. Second thing that I would like for you to do when you start to go through the journey of self-discovery is to unplug from technology in specific. we live in a day and age where we're just bombarded, like the minute we wake up till the minute we go to bed. I mean, we either on our phones, on our tablets, on, like just computers. If it's not just, like personal things that we're doing, we're either watching, other people like, Instagrams or YouTube and things. If you're not doing this, we're at work, we're doing some work online. So literally your screen time, sometimes we spend 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18 hours on different electronics. Training yourself to unplug from that will allow you to literally take a step back and process and spending time with yourself to unplug, to allow yourself to feel human, right? And that's another thing. It's a good exercise to have, because one of the saddest things, I want to be honest, one of the saddest things that I see all the time, you go out to restaurants and
can I ask you a question, please?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, so I love like dating women, but like the thing is, like, I don't like black women because they are ugly. So what should I do? I mean, like, I really only date white women.
Is this real life or is this real life?
For real, I don't like black women.
Perfect. Awesome.
Put your camera on, man. Put your camera on. Why you talking behind
put your camera on, man. First,
this guy's. Yeah, go on. Yeah, hello.
Oh my days.
Yeah, go on.
Holy shit, that's a terrorist right there. Holy shit, Allah Akbar to you too, man.
Okay, so we just gotta
niggers here.
kick him out. Can we kick him out?
I love it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Looks like it was a
So
Zoom
sorry for
conference,
that, man.
guys.
That's okay. We didn't do anything wrong. I mean, it's just so there's some ignorant people out there. I mean, it's all right. It's part of life. Just gotta keep moving forward.
I've locked the meeting. No one else can join Zoom. If they're gonna join us, they're gonna need to join on the YouTube link. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
No, it's just perfect. I mean, that's it's part of life. I mean, that's that and again, that's what I mean about unplugging from social media. And again, when you think about these different things, you talk about like just spending the time with yourself, to process, right? By you taking a step away from everything that you're doing, by taking away, the step away from, from the technology, and with that, hopefully that you guys are taking these different, hopefully you guys are taking this thing to break down these, like how many hours a day that you're spending on your phone, how many hours a day that you're spending on your computer, how many hours, and that's including work, right? So get on a habit before we get into that next level into, allocating some time throughout the day for yourself. And that'll be your unplugging time. Sitting down, you're processing, you're feeling, you're doing what you need to do from all levels and thinking about just the emotions, what you went through, and allocating that specific time for you. Because again, we're going back into, is it okay? All right, Mandur, I think you're.
Yeah, I think Mohammed, you need to mute yourself.
Sorry.
It's okay. Great, awesome. All right, so so again, allocating some time throughout the day to unplug and spend that time with yourself to self-reflect and to understand exactly what what your day is all about and what are the things that you're going through in life that will help reduce some of that stress. At this point, again, it's that self-discovery. So do it for you again. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for your partner, and don't do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself. 3. And number 3, I was actually thinking about a question that came up yesterday. When someone asked me, Abdulwahab, do you meditate? And and I think my answer was, well, I pray, I do deep breathing, and I think this is probably the perfect time for all of us to take some deep breath. It's allocating some time in your day for that meditation part of it. If you associate praying as part of your meditation, amazing. If you feel just deep breathing throughout the day, outstanding. If you into yoga and reflection and thinking and processing and just getting into that whole, just to become grounded in a sense of it, do that. But I think in your planner on daily basis, again, identify certain time in your day to meditate. And again, that time is for you. And when I say meditation, some people think, well, I have to sit here for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. No, you don't. It's, 5 minutes of meditation is just a great thing. Sometimes just closing your eyes, listening just to some comforting music, or listening to Quran, or just, deep breathing, or just It's feeling connected. One of the things that I do actually after every prayer, that I stretch on the floor. I mean, I do some more push-ups and then literally just stretch out, and I sit there for a good 2 to 3 minutes, deep breathing, stretching out on the floor, get up out of it, and I jump in. So the question when they asked me yesterday, I said, well, I only meditate about praying. I mean, just want to correct that. I do spend few things throughout the day that can be considered meditation. So I would like for you guys to, to jump in and, and allocate some of that time through, throughout the day to meditate on daily, because that's only going to help you, become a lot more connected with who you are and with yourself. Questions? Can we take a minute to ground ourselves again? Breathing exercise, maybe. Okay, Tabarak, this is great. Would you like to lead one, if that's okay with you?
If you have one that's good from the top of your mind.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So let's do this. I want everyone to stand up. Whatever you're doing right now, just stand up. Right? And just shake, just move, do some movement, do some jumping jacks, jump in, do whatever you need to do. Just change your setting. Remember, we talked about changing our state. We'll do the 3 things of it. We'll do changing the physiology. So I want everyone to stand up, stretch out, deep breathing, arm up, move to the side, jump jacks, whatever that is you need to do just to get your body moving for a quick second. And breathe. Make sure you breathe throughout the process, please. And after you do this, what I would like for you to do is to take your laptops or your phones or wherever you're sitting and change where you are sitting. So if you're sitting on a chair, go to the other side. If you're sitting on the couch, if you're sitting in your room, maybe go outside, deep breath, whatever that is that you need to do. We'll take another 60 seconds. And make sure you breathe, guys. Breathe. Awesome. And thank you guys for the reminder. Thank you so much, Tabarak, for the reminder. All right, let's get back into it. Number 4. It's okay, guys. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, when and to be honest with you, that's life. We live in a day and age that if everyone think the same way we do, if every person just as mature as we are and things like that, life will become boring at some point, to be honest with you. So you need some of these individuals that at some point they're going through their own ignorance in so many different ways. But again, what do? We just pray for that person. I mean, we can't be upset. We can't do anything about it. I mean, it's nothing to do with us, who we are, our belief system, and as far as what we want to do and why we're here today, to grow, to build, to do things. Other people might not be on the same wave as we are. All we do is just pray for them. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them and whatever that is that they go through in life, but it has nothing to do with us. And this is another thing that I'm going to definitely use that same example later on today when we talk about the relationship with your other partner. Just to keep that in mind, because just unexpected things happen in life. I mean, in so many different ways. How can we stay, grounded? How can we stay focused on our own vision and not blaming ourselves and not taking all this negativity in throughout the day in and day out? Because guess what? We only can control what we can control. We can only control ourselves. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. Do not, put your fate under somebody else's. Don't allow anyone, to be honest with you, to dictate your happiness or your sadness and things like that, and how you feel about certain things. People ignorances, that's them. That's for them. Good for them, not good for them. That they can do whatever they need to do with it. You only have control of the thing that you can control, and that's life. So and that's the thing that we always talk about as far as choices, and being able to have, like you have, choices in life. You have to pick and you choose happy in every aspect of every choice that you're making. So you just don't allow this person, anyone, to be honest with you, in life, to get into you and mess your mental state or trip you out and mess up your day. I mean, for what reason, right? Choose happy. I like that. All right, number 4, get out of your comfort zone. And that's another thing, a lot of times when we think about, like identifying to dig deeper into who you truly are and trying to figure out who you are. I mean, one of the questions that I think Mandur asked, like when the first like first time we met, he asked about, just in general, like, oh, I think it was the second day, like if someone who's stressed out of a job and things like that, like they don't know where their hobbies are. Remember that question, and I said to them, go out there and try. Same exact thing when you go through your self-discovery. If you consider yourself not able to like, to feel stuck, or you don't feel like, you know who you truly are, try something different. Like go, go, kayaking at some point, go skydiving if you want to. I mean, do things different. Learn Spanish if you have to. Go into an Italian movie, by yourself, and literally do the things that's a little different and see if you get some excitement out of it. If you do, awesome, great, keep moving forward. If you're not, you're not, So just that self-discovery, you always have to get out of your comfort zone. And I'm one of those individuals, remember I talked to you guys about it yesterday, I'm very curious. So if someone asks me to do something, right away I'm saying, let's try that out. Why not? Literally, I don't go into this whole like negative mindset of like, maybe now, maybe I don't. No, I'm trying to push my limits to identify if this is something that I enjoy doing or not. Horseback riding, this is one of those things that I never tried for like ever, like for years, until like recently, one of my buddies said, hey, we're going horseback riding. Would you like to come? And I said, let's do it. I went for it and I loved it. Loved it. Now it's like every other, probably like week before I went to Sudan, I would just go in there horseback riding. Winter, snow, cold, it doesn't matter. It's open. We have one right next to, a couple miles away from my house. We go in, we hop on it, and we just do it. It became a new hobby, and hobby that I discovered in my 30s. Just think about that, right? But if I did not allow myself to get out of my comfort zone, I will never found out that this is something that I enjoyed. So get out of your comfort zone when it comes to like that self-discovery. And we're going to talk about that also in discovering that partner, that your right partner. It's the same exact thing. Get off your comfort zone. It starts just, again, you might, and this is one of the biggest things that I get from a lot of clients. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I mean, I don't know what to do. I only want to date someone who's like me, or I want to date the opposite. Why? Again, get off your comfort zone and keep trying, right? Number 5, and this is one of my favorite things. I do this on daily basis, embracing your alone time. And this is something that you have to get in before you find any relationship, before you get into any relationship, you have to find out within yourself. One of the coolest things in anybody's relationship or marriages and things like that for individuals to embrace their alone time. Even if you are in a relationship, you need to embrace your alone time. Your partner need to respect that. We do that all the time. Alhamdulillah, in my household, every single week I do have a day. This is my day. Hang out with my buddies, do what I need to do, go on walks, watch movies, go out to dinner by myself, do what I need to do. My wife have the same exact thing once a week. That's her day. She go out, she hang out, do whatever she needs to do. I mean, that's her day. That's her alone time. And alhamdulillah, it's like a lot of times, like it releases a lot of that. It releases a lot of that, just that, and this is something that we brought into the marriage. That we both understood who we are. We both embraced that before we got into the marriage. So this is not something we found it become very effective. So we're not going to change that, right? So learn to embrace your alone time. A question for you. Look at your day, look at your life currently. Do you have time that it's allocated for you? Ask yourself that question. When is the last time you took out yourself on a date by yourself, to the movies, to dinner, walked on the beach, drove the car for just for hours? Just, this is your time. When is the last time you did that? Write it down. I love that. They sure are. Solo dates are actually the best. And then if you wrote down a moment and ask yourself, when was that last moment? Was it a day ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago? and ask yourself, how did you feel when you went through that? If you never done it, you never done it. If you did, ask yourself, how did you feel going through it? And if you felt good, the $1,000,000 question, why can't you just do it again over and over? Why can't you make that a habit every single week? This is you we're talking about. Remember, this is the investment. This is on you. You're working on yourself. So in a relationship, not in a relationship, this is you working on yourself. So make that investment. And if you liked it so much, just do it again. And again, and again, and again. I love Ahmed. He's like alone dinners are amazing, except when the checks comes. Man, I love it. That's when you escape. I mean, I think it becomes a lot easier for you to just run out the back and you'll never get caught. Number 6, seek out a passion. Discover things about yourself that you truly want. Someone said something 3 days ago that I did not make a comment because I was actually saving this comment for today. They said when we were kids, it was a lot easier for us to think about things that we wanted to do. And we didn't know why. Like, when I was a kid, like you asked me, what did I want to do? I want to be this. I want to do this. I want to drive I want to be what's it called? Car race driver. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a surgeon one day. I wanted to be a Pokemon holder. I think at one point, like it was just these, like, again, no stress, no expectation. This is what it is. And this is what I wanted to do. Right. So when you start to think about passion, one of the coolest exercises that I want for you is to take a step back and ask yourself, if money's not a problem, you get approval from your parents, it is what it is, and there's no stress behind whatever that, what would you find yourself be doing? A hobby or a passion, something that you like to do, and if there's no stress around you, what would that look like? Ahmed said travel. The question will become, travel to where? Travel there. And then you ask yourself the 5 whys. Why? And dig deeper into that question. And if you find enough why, as far as this is what I wanted to do, great. Because you get a lot of people that want to travel just for the sake of traveling. But no, explore that. I traveled to so many different countries in the world. But for me, here we go. I like that, community organizing. For me, when I travel, I never stay at the tourist areas. Never do that. I'm at the villages, talking to people, hanging out, impacting, and just understanding that. We made a very conscious decision as a family about 6 years ago that we will never, travel to Europe, and we will never travel to rich countries. Alhamdulillah, we do about 3 or 4 different trips a year, and all of it to areas that like just local areas, South America, Africa, just to go back and try to impact the economy in a way or two. And again, that's for us. So travel for us now became purposeful. And it's not just us. For our kids, it's the same exact thing. Understanding the culture, understanding they're going in there, and you understand that you're going in and you're spending money and time and energy on those different economies. You're helping, you're impacting. Like $100 to spend, let's say in Panama or something like that, somebody's rent for a year, versus $100, a cup of coffee in Dubai. Literally, that's just think about that from that sense. So that's, find the purpose behind what you do. When you start to think about a passion, dig deeper. I love that, teaching because the bigger picture. I mean, definitely. I mean, this is something, alhamdulillah, we started about 4 or 5 years ago. Every year in March, and this is a cool thing. Like we don't celebrate birthdays in our houses and things. Like the way we do it is kids are working out to earn. And then every year, because both my sons, one was born on the 17th and one was born on the 25th. So they're a week apart, and 3 years and a week apart. So what we do every March, alhamdulillah, we pick a country and then we just travel to it. And then they get to explore that, the culture, they understand the people, and they appreciate what they have. And, and some of the money that they get throughout their, their like, as far as allowances, they'll be able to go out there and spend it and just buy the things that they want to do from that specific culture. So just trying to build that sense of community, that sense of culture, and help them embrace what that is. Because guess what? You go in, you have a birthday party here, and you get 1,000 different gifts. Within a day, it's done. You can use that money to do something different. So just repairing and retraining and becoming very methodical as far as how we teach and how we do things. And that's what I mean about putting yourself in a position, because it's a way of living. Finding a partner is not just like just that lovey-dovey notes and the cloud nine and feeling all these different things. No, it's relax. It's families. It's legacy. It's building. It's community. It's and if you don't find yourself that one person that's able to share the same exact vision, that share the same exact things with you, it becomes very difficult. Very difficult. I remember when was that? Was it like 2 years ago? And literally, I think that's when it clicked with me. Like, we talked, just me and my wife talking about like education in general, just in general. And she said something to me about, I'd rather take the kids on a trip to Africa to spend 2 months there versus them going in and learn that traditional way of learning. And I looked at her and I said, yo, that's exactly what I'm feeling. Amazing. This is exactly what, but that's what I'm saying. So if you come into an equation with that thought process and you have someone who's very very big on like traditional, studying, and this is the way it's going, that's when you start to find these conflicts, right? So take the time to discover who you are and what you want, and then take the time to discover who that partner will look like. One comment in there that I would like for you guys to write down, when you get into the relationship, one of the biggest myths and one of the biggest things that I hear from a lot of different people, that I'm looking for someone to fix me. I need someone to help me become a better Muslim. I need someone to help me become a better Muslima. I need someone to help me do this. I need to have, all due respect, but stop that BS. You're not broken for someone to fix you. Don't ever get into a relationship with that mindset that you're looking for someone to help you do something. No. Think about it from that sense. You are an individual that you know who you are, your strengths and weaknesses, and you have these 100 things, amazing things about you, and your partner did the same exact thing, and they have this 100 things or more amazing thing about themselves. You work on you to improve you, to build you, and with no expectation. Remember, putting your fate under your own hand. This is you control your own destiny. And your partner is doing the same thing. They're controlling their own destiny as far as happiness and things. And then together, you guys are building this whole community and family and raising. And that's how relationship work. Another thing that I want for you guys to think about it, when in a marriage or in a relationship, it's not a 50-50 crap. Stop that. That's also a myth. Oh, I'm 50-50. No, there's no 50-50. Because if you feel like giving like 0% that one day and your partner is giving a 20%, that's failing. Think of marriage or relationship as 100-100. So on best days, you guys giving it 100, like 200% on daily basis. And if you just slack in one day and you're not feeling like doing anything, and you give it, let's say 50%, and your partner like, okay, well, no problem, I'm giving it a 70%. You guys are already 110% in. That's on your worst day. Just think about that, just the thought process behind it. It's really just embracing who you do, and that's what I mean about once you define who you truly are and ask yourself, what do you deserve? The next thing will be like, all right, and we're going to talk about like, how do you find like that partner and things like, but that's that mindset. Identifying your passion, and these passions shouldn't change. And I see that a lot with a lot of my clients, actually, not just some, a lot of my clients, they get into like, I used to write, I used to read, I used to travel, I used to do all this thing, and then I got married. I'm like, and so now I don't do none of it. Why not? And it's just like, oh, I don't know. Like my partner won't allow me. I'm like, what? Like, hold on, we're having issues here. Let's talk about this, right? So think about it from that sense. Finding these passions and finding these hobbies and finding all these different amazing things about you, then bring that into the relationship. And don't allow things like, let's say you had a rough relationship and you have a breakup, the first one, the second one, the third one. Don't take that personally. Remember, we talked about just being easy with yourself, right? And just because it did not work out with one person, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. That's relationships. It's compatibility. Either it works or it doesn't. I have clients that have been married for like 20, 30 years. And then like my boy, one of my clients, like, I think after the third session, he was explaining his relationship. I'm like, bro, like you need a divorce. And 20 years in marriage. And he, looked at me and said, he's like, wallahi, I felt the same way a week into my marriage. 1 week. So he's been living in, just according to him, hell for 20 years because of adat, because of the qalid, because of all these different things, and he's like, just methodically, she wanted kids and he just intentionally did not want to have kids. So he intentionally was lying to her for 20 years and all these, like, it's just like my mind blew. And I'm sitting there like, you need a divorce. This is crazy. Like he's not happy, she's not happy, and it's 20 years and they just in there in it just for the sake of just being married. I'm like, that's wrong. That's not how you look at relationship. No. Again, I'm not telling people to get divorces and things like, but again, if you do it right from the get-go, you find yourself, saving yourself a lot of time and energy and all these different things, moving forward in life. Right? Number 7, ask for help. You're not alone. And that's what I keep telling people. You're not alone. Get marriage counseling, get coach therapy, get a therapist, get into that and get into that early. We do something, and again, wallahi, I'm not promoting nothing, but we do something called couple coaching. And it's a series specifically designed for couples who are thinking about getting married. It's a 4 sessions, one with her, one with him, and then 2 of them are together. And to open up their eyes into, is marriage the right step forward? Not from an Islamic way, not from any other way, just from a methodical way, connection, compatibility. Is this right? And we talk about values, we talk about, core values, we talk about mission, vision, we talk about kids, and every single question we put it out there, and if they're not comfortable talking about it, that's a problem. Because in marriage and things like that, that should be that. Like, you find yourself, you gotta be stuck. I don't want to be able to put the word stuck for the rest of your life with someone in an amazing way. So do it right. It's an investment. Marriage is like, a relationship in general, it's like having 2 CEOs running a company. 2 CEOs running a company. Not a CFO and a CEO, not a president and vice president, no, 2 presidents, 2 CEO running that same company. So they need to be connected. Communication need to be on some other level. Respect need to be from other level. And appreciation need to be on some other level. So do you recommend all couples have the pre-therapy and couple coaching? Yes, I absolutely do. I went through it before I got married. It was one of those things that's, and it was great. Like we had a huge fight during the couple coaching, but it was needed. It was really needed because it was just in depth into like, okay, here's the things. And here's what I am. Here's where you are. We got to talk about it. We got to come up to some common ground. Like we have to talk about it. And it just came up. We dealt with it, alhamdulillah, before the marriage, and that was that. And we have a couple of exercises for you. So someone asked a question: when is the cultural pull that creates the dynamic? How can people deal with that, especially in traditional Sudanese culture, kind of changing nowadays, though, and more liberal ideas of adapted information? I agree with you 100%. So when culture kick in, and this is something that's interesting, right? Especially let's talk culture for a quick second. There's 2 different type of culture, right? There's and I want to be honest, right? You have people that live in Sudan, and then you have people that live here. People in Sudan, they spread into different ways. You have the extremely traditional, like families and things that they do things, just how Habobat and Ajdad used to do. And then there's some modern individuals, young youth that want to do things a little bit different, right? That's in Sudan. And then you have here, I think a lot of people here, to get that exposure into that Western looking at things. When I first wanted to get married, I went to my mom and I said, "Hey, mom, I'm 27 and I think this is it. I think I'm ready, maturity enough. Got my business is moving, and I need to get into that." So right away, the first thing that came out of her mind, great. خلينا نمشي السودان أشوف لك زوجة. Whoa. Calm down. I didn't tell you this because I want you to Sudan Sudan to find me someone. No, I have a thought process as far as what I'm looking for, and one of the biggest things for me, culture is important. I needed someone who grew up here, just like I am, that understand the Western culture. of things. Like for me, traditional way of getting married did not make a lot of sense. Some people love that, but for me, it didn't. And that's for my preference. So we sat down, we talked about needs and wants and what I'm looking for and things like that. And then her thing was, well, halas, I'm gonna go look. I was like, no, I don't need you to look. No, I'm not telling. I'm telling just to inform you. But I don't need you to look. I'm a look. You should just support me. Like just keep an eye out. But that's it. But don't look. So what I started to do, started to go into like more involved in the community, go into more Sudanese weddings, started doing different things. Alhamdulillah, I met my wife, and thing we connected. We did our thing. We did our marriage, like counseling, coaching, and then move forward. Alhamdulillah, and then we got married like 6 months later. So it's an interesting process. So thinking about that from that sense. I have people here that got married where their moms, dads went to Sudan and brought them a picture from a wedding. They saw the picture, they liked it, they went in, they had the wedding, they brought in, some of the women here. And it was a lot of clashes for the first 2-3 years. Didn't adapt to the culture. Some of them didn't speak the language. They couldn't find jobs. They're home, especially if they're very highly active individual back home. They came here and got that culture shock. I mean, some didn't accept that, their men, like, working with women, the different relationships, like, when we see each other, like say hugs and stuff, like they just didn't accept that. And that ended up to a lot of divorces. Then you have people here, like people that went to Sudan, got married there, met someone, and then they brought them here, like someone within that same thing. And you start, again, it's all about preferences, not from, I tell people it's that 80-20 rule. When you find a partner and you dig deeper into trying to figure out who that partner is in so many different ways, you want to first create a list of your red lines. Like these are the things that, like, your core values. These are the things that you just cannot cross. An example, if you, for example, you do not want your partner to drink. For you, that's a red line. You cannot cross, even if the guy meets 100% of everything you're looking for, but if he drinks and he's not able to stop, that's a no-go. That's a red line. So you don't even cross that. Age different. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about, culture. Because culturally, and this is crazy, but I really want to put it out there for Sudanese, individual, you have individuals who come to this country, work for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, make enough money, and then they travel to Sudan and marry someone who's like 20 years old, and there'll be a 20, 30 different year gap. Culturally, this is something that we see a lot. That's another major problem. Why? Because again, there's a huge gap. Into, like, like I said, they can't think the same, like they have the same exact energy. They don't have the same drive that, someone who's just starting their lives and someone who's just want to settle. Again, they just cannot connect. So when you start to think about the things that you're looking for in a partner, I want you to think about it from a methodical standpoint. Someone said to me, Abdullah, like, what is that age difference? Like, what is the age difference? Like, for me, I think, again, and that's just my own perspective. I'm not 10. I think a 5-year difference, it's appropriate. Someone either older or younger within that 5 years still put you in that same, same like thought processes. If you're working, like you say, you just graduated, the other person is like a couple of years into business, like they're working on things. There's a lot of things, common grounds into when you start to think about that, but that's again, but that's your unique preference. One of the things I see with a lot of my younger clients, that they're looking for someone older because they think maturity. I want to marry someone who's like 10 years that older than me because he's going to be maturity. I really want you guys to be very, very careful when it comes to that, when you start to say that, because a lot of it is when you dig deeper into it from a psychological standpoint, you start to realize that there is things missing at home, that relationship between, like, let's say the person and their fathers, for example, their male figures in their life. So they tend, not all of it, I'm not trying to generalize, just in the thought process from some of the clients that I work with, and they go in with someone who's a little bit older just to outwill on that specific things. 3 things I would like for you guys to write down, just under 3 lines. No man ever mumkin ya'awwadak your parents. You cannot compare your dad to any man. It's not a fair comparison ever. So keep that in mind. And you cannot have a woman that would like your mom, comparing your mom to any, like wife of yours or significant others. That's a wrong comparison. It's not a fair comparison for that other person, because now you have a different, interesting expectation in your mind, right? So how do we find our partner or that significant others, right? So, like 100%, thank you, Noon, for bringing that up. You cannot feel and one of those things that I see, alhamdulillah, I'm working with a good amount of, young, like Sudanese women that coming in, Yeah, subhanAllah, it's when once we start to dig deeper into this thing and start talking about that relationship and I mean again, I want it's an interesting, sensitive topic when you think about culturally, our parents, specifically the relationship they are bringing, Sudanese in general. I mean, like our parents or grandparents, in a sense, they have an issue with expressing emotions, and I want to be honest. We have an issue with expressing emotions. So you have this new generation coming up with didn't understand like how to express emotions. We have some very strong moms. I want to put it out there, giving a shout out to all our moms, but they don't. I mean, when is the last time you saw your mom crying? Right? I mean, when is the last time you saw your mom, like, you mom and dad walking around in public holding hands? Right? It's interesting the way that they view relationship, like the way they do things and the way they view relationship compared to how we view relationship. It's a little bit different. So I want you guys to be, careful when it comes to that, because what people tend to do is they either want to follow the same exact, thing that our parents are saying, or they want to go the extreme opposite. So asking for help is critical. That's why, men talked about, like, getting these premarital, questions and premarital, like counseling and coaching to get to understand what that is. You're not alone going through this thing. So when you start to think about how to find that partner, so at this point, you identified who you truly are. You jumped in, you gather all that data, you start to work for help, you find the hobbies, you figure out who you truly are, right? Then the next thing that I want you guys to start to think about when you start to look into the partner is to same exercise that we did yesterday. And people think I'm crazy when I say this. Pen and paper, and I want you to think about 100 things that you want in a partner. Don't sugarcoat it, because some people are like, oh, I know what I want. Like, how many things? Oh, I wrote 3 things. I want someone who's pretty, who's tall, who's handsome. Yo, like that's not it. Is that what you're gonna be spending the rest of your life with? Think about that from that perspective. I want you to jump in, and I want you to think about 100 things that you want to get in a partner. And I want you to think about all aspects of life, the physical aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it, the mental aspect of it, the cultural aspect of it, the age differences, what are the things that you want? Someone that open doors for me, someone that bring me flowers every day, someone that's supportive, someone when I'm angry, they just back off, someone that I read a post yesterday on Facebook, one of my good friends, and she was talking about, she just got engaged, and she was telling people to, to when they want to get married, to go in and check in with their partners, sisters and mom, and ask them if their brothers wash dishes and do the laundry and do these things, because she said, this is something that I want in a partner, and I want to make sure that, like, whoever I marry carry the same things. So I was like, I love it. Great. Good job. Keep doing that. So that's what I want you guys to think about. Think about everything. I want someone who's tall. I want someone who's dark. I want someone with a beard. I want someone with no beard. I want someone who have a job. I need someone who's a doctor. I want someone, because again, the class, that's another thing. You have individuals, for example, who's, say, they have their doctorate, and then they marry someone who's like, didn't graduate from high school. Again, there's no issues with that, but there's a lot of issues with that. This, again, subconsciously, that connection, the conversations, the ability to build and grow, the way, the intake. And this is something I do have a client currently, that the mom is a surgeon, and then the husband is a mechanic. No disrespect to anything, but he did not finish elementary school. And then the kids that are coming in, just the tons of issues. And again, I'm giving only one example, just because it's at some point they're not seeing eye to eye at all. The mom is all about education, about structure, about all these different things. The dad is not about all of that. Like, yo, I went through this thing and I became okay. And then this, even in that relationship, and even that the nuts, like when we out in the communities and the way that, she doesn't appreciate the way he's talking. Literally, it's a lot of it, because it's just subconsciously, and like from a mental standpoint, they're not on the same page. Yep, I am getting into that 80-20 rule. So you think about, you wrote 100 things about the things you want, and seriously, guys, like all your needs and wants, and I want you to dream, because you're making it a lot easier. Remember that example I gave you a couple of days ago, buying a car. Again, I hate to compare the two, but that's exactly right. The more you know, the more you understand what you're looking for, the more you start to focus on getting that, and you will get that. So once you identify your 100 things, from the 100 things, I want you to highlight few things that you consider red lines. That's non-negotiable. No way, you're not doing it. I'll give you an example. Let's say if you live in a state and you marry someone and the person doesn't want to live there, he wants to go back home to Sudan. And that's not what you're all about. For you, that's non-negotiable. It's up to you, non-negotiable. If someone said, well, I want you to live with my parents. If, for example, you feel like that's non-negotiable, that's a non-negotiable. It's up to you what you're looking for, right? And I don't want you to think about, well, you know, culturally and all that. No, it's your preference. Your preference. That crazy dude that jumped up earlier, I mean, he has a preference. Again, that's his point of view. That's his preference. Each person, one of us have a preference. Someone will say, I want someone who's muhajjaba. Someone will say, I don't want that. Someone said, I want someone who's Americanized. Someone else, that's what I'm saying. Like, exactly. You know, it's whatever that is, that's a preference. And it's okay with that because you're looking for it. So once you have that list, once you create these non-negotiable, these are the things that you want. And I really want you guys to dig deeper and to find, like, I want you to dream. Wallahi, and I hear this all the time. It's like, well, like seriously, like this is like, really? Yeah, really. I want you to dream. I want you to think. I mean, people write about their political affiliation. Write that down. If you say, well, listen, I'm not going to marry someone who's a Republican or a Democrat. Perfect. Write that down. Once you discover that and you wrote that list about the things that you want, non-negotiable and things like that, then you go out there and search it, right? If you say to me, listen, I want someone who's a doctor, the $1 million question, where do doctors hang out? Right? I gotta go to the hospital, hang out, go to the Starbucks across the street from the hospital, connect. Because again, if that's a non-negotiable, that's the non-negotiable. So that's how I want you guys to think about, you know, like it's really about your preference, what you want, and then you go for it. Once you meet that individual, and it's not about the lovey-dovey and oh my God, I love you. And I get it, I get all of this. But let's dig deeper. We're thinking this is your life. This is your, like, this is forever. This is kids. This is like a peace of mind. People want to get married for that peace of mind. You don't want to just get married for drama. No, you're not into that, right? It's really start to think about it from that sense. You get that individual while you guys going out on dates, while you guys having a conversation, while you guys picking each other, you start to ask from your list. Not just like, oh, do you smoke? Do you do this? No, it's not that. Dig deeper. What are your thought process on having kids? What are your thought process on living in this country? What are your thought process about me working? It's serious. I want you guys to think about that. We have, you know, like some men will say, nope, I want my wife to come in and I really want him just to stay home and raise the kids. If that's a non-negotiable for you, it's a non-negotiable. Right? It's really just that. So you dig deeper into it and you start to ask these intelligent questions. What do you thought? How much you making? What's going on? What's your intake in kids? What's your intake in that? What you doing this? What's going on here? How do you feel about traveling? If you wrote traveling and all these different things, perfect. You know, how much, you know, how do you feel? I love that question. What are your thoughts about making more money than you? Beautiful question. Write that down. Because this is one of the most common issues that I tend to see in our culture. Strong women making more money than their men. And the men turn to be very interesting. And that's something because then they want to find a way to block them, not get them work, and then start, you know, just start getting to abuse. It's just an interesting to asking that question from day one. What are your thought process about this? Right? And you dig, you know, and ask that question. And don't take it for face value. And if you say, oh yeah, I'm okay. Like I'm not using male and female, but let's just say hypothetically, he said, oh yeah, no problem. No. I'm telling you that I'm going to get my doctorate. I'm working on my things. My goal in life from a money perspective, because I talked to AB at some point and he broke these different things. And I said, within the first couple of years, I'm making $200,000. So how are you feeling? Right? Insecurities. That's exactly what that right answer. And if they're not able to answer that question, you can move again. It's your life. Treat it as that is. Like, treat it as like it's a job interview. And ask all the questions, you know, about everything. How do you feel about this? What do you think if you lose a job, you know, and just be clear. Hey, you know, how do you feel about, you know, getting our own house? Oh, no, what I want you to come in. I want you to live with my parents for a little bit until I build my thing. Okay, great. You know, look into your list. Do you need someone who's building, and do you need someone that will allow you to live? If that's okay with you, that's okay with you. I had a client when we worked on her list. Wallahi, literally in there on her list, she put in, I want to be a stay-home mom. She's she was actually she's a very powerful person that I'm working with, and great position, a lot of money, status, no issues. But on that list, I want to be a stay-home mom. I don't want to work. I want to make sure my husband take care of everything. I just want to have, take care of the kids. Preference. I love it. And that's a non-negotiable. Got a couple relationship, did not work out because of that. Because that intimidation, that the husband's like, yo, like, what do you mean? Like, you're not going to help me out? Like, nope. Not planning on working at all. And whatever I made in my life, this is my money. I'm not bringing it to the marriage. You figure it out. Again, very rigid when it comes to that. Alhamdulillah, I've been married for 4 years now, doing extremely well. Because she found that right person that met that criteria. Jihad mentioned, I think one has to be comfortable with themselves and comfortable with the other person in order for the insecurities not to affect the relationship. That's exactly what we're talking about. You get into that lifestyle where you understand, you're good with yourself, and that other person is good with themselves. And then you guys come together to build. So once you create that list, you create the non-negotiable, right? Then the person come in and you interview, you go through, you ask the question and follow the answers. Follow the answers. And you cannot change people unless they want to change. And that's a fact. You cannot change people unless they want to change. So if someone come to you and say, listen, I would like for you to change me. No. And that's one of the craziest things that I heard when I was in Sudan. I was working with a client, and she said, he came to her and he said to her, I want you to bini. I was to bini. I'm like, yo, run. Like, I'm out. Can't do that. You're not his mama. Like, you're not his mama. Like, yo, just get out of here. What do you mean? Like, oh, this is just too crazy. This is too crazy for me. She ended up running. She ended up leaving him. I'm like, whew. It's crazy. That's what it was like. It's relationships an interesting thing, but when you spend the time to ask the question and to follow through and pay attention to what these guys are saying. Again, let's put the emotions aside. Let's think about, pay attention to what these guys are saying. If he's telling you, yo, my mom is a non-negotiable, this is what it is, and she comes to live with us, and that's what that is. But and if you're okay with it, it's great, awesome, because this is what you want. If you don't want that, no, you don't. And then once you start to think about these things, that's where that 80-20 comes in. And the 80-20 comes in from the non-negotiable, right? Because that person already passed all the non-negotiable, so it's good to go. If they meet 80% of everything you want, that's the taker. Not a 79%, it's the 80. That 20%, that's adaptability. For example, and this is also a true story. One of my clients also just got married last year. She had a baby this year, like I think about 2-3 weeks ago. When we sat down, talked about like the goals, we wrote the 100. Well, I still remember it was like yesterday. We wrote the 100 things. We worked on all these different things. And then, and she came to me and she said, Abdullah, like, yo, this guy meets 85% of everything, but the problem is that he's short. And I said to him, well, I don't know, maybe give him Kab Ali or something. I don't know what to tell you. And that's it's not negotiable. You got to go for it. Alhamdulillah, she went through with it. She got married. Alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful wedding. And we just went into we just had the baby a couple of days ago. It was like one of the funniest thing ever. She's like she's stressing. Like, yo, he meets everything, but he's short. Well, I don't know. I don't know how can I help. I don't know how to do with this. Amazing guy. But it's that thought process. And have fun with it. This is your life. If you're into comedy, get someone who's a comedy, into comedy. If you're into if this is a dream, and if you into risk taking and businesses and all, you need someone that can understand your lifestyle. If you want to go to school to become a doctor, you go to school to become a doctor. This is your journey. You're getting married or getting into a relationship to have that peace of mind, guys. So don't sell yourself short. Never do that. It doesn't work. Just because you got forced into it, or because you wanted to do it because you had 3 or 4 or 5 different bad experiences, and then all of a sudden this person wanted to come in, and all of a sudden like, okay, let me just go through with it. Don't do that. Don't give up on you. Because guess what? That person that you met, that you talked to initially, and that's what it is, and that's what their expectation, that's what you're going to get for the rest of your life. Sure, we got to be some adaptability, and that's that 20% that we're talking about. But for the most part, if core values are not there, core values are not there. Another client the other day we were talking about, one of her non-negotiables, stop drinking. Like, we're not drinking. So the guy came in, and she was like, yo, do you drink? He said, yep. He was like, okay. His dad drinks, yep. But no, you know what? I want you to get married to me, and I want you to help me. No problem. Got married, 2 kids now, and the guy went back to drinking. And he told her, he's like, yo, you can't leave anymore. You have 2 kids. And I'm not stop drinking. I'm not gonna stop drinking. So now she's furious. She's freaking out. Like, but you accepted that from day one. Well, he lied to me. No, he told you that he drinks, and he told you that his parents drinks, and he told you that it's okay from a cultural perspective, and you jumped on that. You're okay with that. But if you stick with your things, like, no, then again, sure, they can say whatever that, but you start to track that down. Like, what are your thoughts in that? And he said, yeah, my dad, in our house, everything is okay. That's cool. So how do you expect the person to change? If he come to you and say, listen, this is for me, it's a non-negotiable. I don't drink, and that's okay with you, go for it. But people, you cannot change people unless they want to change. Right? Sure, you can enforce it, you can do whatever you need to do, but you cannot change people unless they want to change. And a lot of times people are comfortable. Why would they change? Fear, right? Culture plays a huge role. Like, who is she to come in and change you? Or who is he to come and change you? And that's another crazy stuff that we tend to get in our culture on daily basis. Culture, and that's another thing. Like, once you pick that person, and once you feel that individual, and once you make that move, and again, that person become a priority. You guys are there to help each other to continue to grow. I'm gonna say something here that's very interesting. This is something that I see a lot in Sudanese weddings in specific. I don't know why. People get married, and then weddings happen, and then all of a sudden, those crazy fights happen between the families, and all these dramas happen in weddings, which I don't get. I don't understand. The mindset, and then the Arus or the Aris are put in a situation that you have to pick your family, or you have to pick your wife, or something like this. Stop doing that. And if you are in that situation, you pick your wife. Why? Because if your family members, because like in that situation, decided not to ra'i your own, it's not about them. That's your day, right? It's not. It's beef. Oh, stop. It's not your day. It's your day. Has nothing to do with them. If your brothers and sisters are ignorant enough to go in there, start doing all these crazy fights and all these different things and all this drama in your wedding day, that's a problem you're gonna have. So again, culturally, remember, like, you already did your homework, you already picked this person, you understand what that is, that you want from this individual. Then all of a sudden, all this crazy drama, your families will get into it. Again, you gotta put that into it. Again, that's why what Jad just mentioned, like, you need to be okay with yourself and comfortable with the decision that you're making, and that person need to do the same. So when you guys are getting together, you guys are building as a family. You're building she's building hers, and you guys are continuing to build. No expectation. 100%. I love what you said, Muhammad Jafar. But again, if you find someone who's not on that same wave, that's the problem. If both of you guys are now the same, because I get people that, hey, he wants to quit his job. There's something called the 6 human needs, and I'm going to touch base on that for a quick second, right? 6 human needs. Write those down, please, guys. The 6 human needs, and this is the reason why people make a lot of this. Every decision in life is connected to those 6 human needs. Number one, and while I'm talking about this, you're gonna start to think about yourself, and I want you to identify the 6 human needs that lead you to make some of the decisions that you do, most of your decisions. Number one is certainty. People want certainty. You go to school to get a job, you do these things to do this thing. You understand in your mind, you work so hard, you get that promotion. You buy you go in, you find a house, you get married, you get a house, you get a kid. That's certainty behind it. Some individuals are very structured. This is what it is, to make sure that they have that control. Certainty is control of your outcomes. Basically, that's what you want to do. And for all of us, I think every person in the world, they love that certainty. They want that certainty in a sense, because certainty is comfort in a way. If you work hard to get this job, and then you stay in the job for the rest of your life, and you'll never get fired, you make that same amount of money, a lot of people will take that, because of certainty. You're not worried about losing your job. You're not worried about stressing, none of that stuff. So that's why a lot of people do what they do, because of that certainty. Number two is uncertainty. People are very uncertainty driven. I'm very uncertainty driven. I'm one of those individuals, just like, hey, you would say, hey, go in and sit down and lock yourself in and just be there for a month and a half. I'm in. It's all right. Like, I'm not stressing about, because I have that faith in myself, and I believe in my ability, and I believe that I'm able to create certainty within the uncertainty. So, seriously, we'll be sitting down here, and my wife would tell you, we'll be sitting down having conversations, and all of a sudden she would say, yo, can we go to the Bahamas? I'm like, yo, when? Right now? Let's do it. I'm one of those individuals, I have no problem. And I do that all the time. And she trying to choke me sometimes because she's very certainty driven and I'm very uncertainty driven. We'll be sitting down on the weekend and saying, hey, how about, I just booked tickets, we're traveling. And she's like, yo, I'm about to choke you. Don't do that again. But but I think it's that balance. I think learn to accept each other. So, having the uncertainty driven, and then that second one is the uncertainty driven. So certainty, uncertainty is the number one. Number three is love and connection. People make decisions because they love individuals. And this is, as Sudanese community, we're very love and connection driven. And a lot of times it get us in a lot of different problems. So love and connection is the third one. Fourth one is significant. You work so hard to get a promotion. One of the people, like me, again, he's on a different extreme. Trump is one of those individuals, very, significant, driven. It's all about me, 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 me. I mean, we all, to be honest with you, would like some of that. We work so hard to get that promotion. You want to be acknowledged at work. We do great. Some people say, yo, you did a good job here. Some people would work so hard. And a lot of our parents are, in a way, you want you to become a doctor because you want to have that doctor title on your name. This is really interesting. When you start to think about it, because I'm spending a lot of time to understand about the culture, to be honest with you. So just interesting. So we have certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and we have significant. Number five is contribution. People make decision to contribute. And by the way, make sure you guys do donate generously for SDN efforts to help the coronavirus stuff. So, four is significant. Five is contribution. Mother Teresa, for example, a person that would dedicate a life. And by the way, a lot of the guys here on who's on this group are very contribution driven. You dedicate your life for better of others. You want to get into helping other people. You're creating this particular platform to help and give and things like that. That's contribution driven, right? And then the last one, growth. Growth. That's why we do what we do. You want to grow, you want to continue to move forward. I mean, as human beings, this is something. So when you start to look into your own life, certainty, uncertainty, significance, contribution, growth, love and connection, and growth, you start to see, and I want you to evaluate specifically, where are you as far as the decision-making process, right? A lot of these different things that we do. And then I want you to take it a notch in any relationship, and hear this out, which is interesting. In a relationship, for the relationship to work and to continue to move forward and have a lot of fun with it, each person must fulfill 4 or more of those 6 human needs. Interesting, 4 or more. And not just that partner is fulfilling 4 or more of yours, you must fulfill 4 or more of them. And that's that majority. Not 3, it's 4 or more. So if you're, for example, I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like I said, I'm very uncertainty driven, I'm very love and connection driven, and I'm very contribution driven, and I'm all about growth, right? My wife, and these are the things that my wife actually with me. Like she allowed me to be crazy and do my uncertainty things. Like I quit my job, like corporate came in and said, yo, I'm done. I'm going to jump in and start a business. She looked at me and was like, well, and this is a true story. Like she literally looked at me and she said, like I left corporate America on a Friday. I didn't tell her until like that Sunday. I said, yo, just quit my job. I'm done. Like I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do things. And she literally looked at me and she said, yo, I have a trip to Miami next weekend that I planned for the past 6 months. I was like, oh, great, go to Miami. But she understand my craziness is all about that uncertainty. And she understood that I can come in and I can deliver because this is something that drive a lot of what I do, right? And then for me, so 1 and 2 are, like certainty and uncertainty. For me, I fulfill her certainty in so many different ways. Yes, I'm very uncertain, but I bring certainty into the table, making sure that she doesn't worry about different things, making sure that she got what she needs from all levels. For me, that's something that I'm very structured. Love and connection, there's another thing that I do for her. She's big on contribution, and she's very big on growth as well. I mean, she's dedicated her life to helping others and all these different things. So when you think about it, she's fulfilling 4 of mine, and I'm fulfilling 4 or 5 of hers. And then also, of course, that significance. Like, yes, hey, getting credit for some of the things. And I do the same exact things to her. Like, yo, you look nice today, and all these different things to show that person that they are important to you. And sometimes, we all need that, right? So when you think about that, that partner of yours must fulfill 4 or more. Someone will say, that they fulfill all of them. I do, and sadly, guys, I do have clients that one person get 4 out of the 6. And the other person get 1. And this is actually a true story for a couple of my clients right now. Extremely wealthy, successful businessman, went in, married someone who's probably 15 years younger, very attractive, very smart and things like that. And she's home. There's one of the things, and she fulfilled a lot of his significance, the certainty, the uncertainty, the love and connection, all these different things. The only thing he fulfilled is that certainty, because he's paying for a lot of these different things. And for her, I had a session with her as well. And she said, no, that's, paying for everything, so I'm good. And life is just a crazy roller coaster, because it's like at some point, yes, you accept that for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I here? Comparing. And that's when people start looking around, start cheating, doing all this crazy stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. So do it right. The moral to the story into this whole thing is like, it's your life. Take charge and do it for you. Please do it for you. It's not about anyone else. It's about yourself. Don't settle. And remember, just because you had a bad relationship, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, it does not make you wrong. It's not about you. It's okay. The relationship didn't work out. It doesn't make you a bad guy or he's a bad guy. The relationship just did not work out. It's okay. He can go, and then you go in and find that person that can fulfill everything. And he can go out there and find the person that can fulfill everything for him. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And that's another taboo that we have in our culture, divorces. And I've done a lot of workshops for our parents in our community here about that, specifically to educate. If she's miserable and he's miserable, why stay together? Because guess what? You guys are creating miserable kids. You're teaching your kid that it's okay for him to put his hands on you. You teach him, your kids, that's okay for you to curse him out and do all these different things. You make it's okay for him to get that abuse, to feel that sadness. What are you trying to create? You're staying together for the sake of the kids, but what are you teaching the kids? Right? And that's the $1 million question that we got to ask. If you're stepping away because of all this crazy stuff that this guy is doing, or he's stepping away because of all this crazy stuff that you're doing, and you take a step away from each other, and then you have your kids, but you explain to the kids the reasons why. I stepped away from dad or stepped away from mom because, again, just we're not happy. That doesn't mean that we take it on you. We still love you. We still are parents. We still give you everything you need. We'll continue to work on this thing. We'll get counseling in place and work on this to build that up, because what you're creating is family, is generational. And you don't want these kids to grow up and hating parents and all these different things. So that's what I'm saying. Choose happy, choose right before you get into it. Marriage is not just, or relationship is not just, let's get into this whole thing and be okay with it because I love you and you love me. It's not that. It's the responsibility, it's that accountability, it's that respect. And for any relationship to work, 3 things. Communication is one of them. And then respect is the second one, and appreciation. That's it. It's not, and again, love will come, Because if you love someone, you communicate with them. If you love someone, you respect them. If you love someone, you appreciate what they do. And that's how you build love. I get it, love from the first sight and heartbeats and all these. I mean, that's attraction. That's not love. That's physical attraction or mental attraction to someone. You know, love, you develop that throughout the year. The more time you spend with the person. But if you go in there and like you spend the time and the guys put his hands on you, or you put your hand on him and all these different things from day 1, day 3, and there's no love behind that. You're attracted to certain things. You're attracted, and there's certain things in your insecurities, a lot of things, and again, you're cutting yourself short. Don't settle. No. Same thing. I mean, again, you're paying attention to the details. Physical abuse and mental abuse and verbal abuse. That's not okay. That's not okay, and that better be on your list. Respect. That's another very critical thing. Communication. And wallahi, guys, like if you guys just understand the concept of communication between partners, you guys will save, like, we'll probably save like 80% of divorces in our culture, just specifically by improving that communication. Hadid, you're absolutely right. Respect is one, appreciation is two. But the most important one, I cannot emphasize more of it, is that communication piece. We don't know how to communicate, and that's our problem. We seriously do not know how to communicate with each other. We battle things and we don't talk to things, you know. And I mean, I love that. You know, he said, you know, communication with understanding is so important. Yes. And that's why I said the art of communication. But we have to be able to communicate our needs and wants, and we'll be able to understand their needs and wants. Communication, verbal and non-verbal. If they're angry, just give them their space. You don't have to argue with things. You don't. Why? What are you trying to get out of it? Right? That's that communication. Communication, all aspect of it. But then the minute you find yourself being verbally, mentally, you know, and physically abused, you step away, you leave. They will not change. They will not change. Because guess what? The person, the minute they start to feel like they have to put their hands on you, they have to verbally abuse you, they mentally abuse you, sexually abuse you, all these different things. It's not just at the moment. That's you know, a lot of like things that took place to create that. A lot of wounds that been going on, like that person's been going through. Person needs therapy. The person needs to go through that to understand that before they come back and can say, I'm okay. And that's, again, culturally, we don't accept therapy. Put your hand on you, then all of a sudden you find, oh, yeah, I'm an Asian parents. It's okay for your kids. It's okay. You have to stay back. No, it's not okay. It's definitely not okay. Self-love will never allow you to do it. Right? So keep that in mind. Work on you. Identify who you are, because remember, no one will love you more than you do. And I have to keep saying that. No one will love you more, because if you don't understand how to be loved, what are you expecting from anyone? How do you expect anyone to love you if you don't understand to be loved? Because they can just come in and just do whatever that is or say whatever that is, and all of a sudden in your mind, like, yo, this is love. That's not love. It's not love. Which come first, love or respect? Respect. Because if they respect you, because again, the initial thing is attraction to, you know, physical and mental. I mean, just, you know, like just features or your thought processes, whatever that is, your intellect, all these different, it's attraction. You come in and we talk about it and things like that. But if they don't respect you, if they don't respect your thought process, if they don't respect your ability to create, to do, and all this stuff, I mean, there's no love behind it. How are you loving someone if you just verbally abusive to someone? It does not make sense. A person needs some help. They need to go out there and seek some help, and then come back to it. And then it's on you to evaluate, and it's on you to accept or not. But communication is critical. Mo said, how do we work on being expressive and communicating openly, truly, and free? I think the first one, Muhammad, is a good question. The first thing is to be okay with yourself. If you understand who you truly are, your needs and wants, you're able to communicate that, because that's what you want. That's all you know, right? And then building that, you know, that trust, building that respect, building that, you know, that appreciation, and then communicate it. And that's another thing. Like when we get into a relationship, we get into it from a sense of like if you go into a relationship with hesitation, that's wrong. If like you're worried about like, yo, if I say these different things, this other person gonna come in and take it. No. That's fear. That's not self-confidence. That's not self-love. You go into the community with who you are. This is what it is, and this is who I am. If you meet all these different things and you meet my things, let's keep it moving. If not, you're okay with yourself. You accepted yourself. Because remember, you did that exercise and you understand who you truly are. Having, I mean, that's Muhammad Jafar, that's a good question. It's nothing, it's nothing more than having to squeeze emotion from someone. Again, when you think about this, I mean, it goes back into trust. It goes back into like, like the upbringing. It goes back into, the biggest thing is just trust. And not trusting you. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them trusting themselves. Because you feel like if you trust someone, like if you don't trust someone enough to share that information with that person, that's a problem initially. But then at some point, that means you're not okay with who you are. You got to come to that conclusion as far as self-love first, self-discovery first. You have to be okay with you. You have to accept you. And that's a critical part. And then everyone else will accept you. When I say that, it's so interesting when I say that all the time. I remember like the first thought just came to mind, 8 Mile, the movie. I mean, for some of the young ones that didn't see that movie, it's an interesting, that's the Eminem movie. And one of the things that happened, like, Eminem will go through battles, like the rap battles and things like that. And, and he will go through and he would beat individuals. And there was the last battle that he sat there and he was thinking about like, yo, like, how do I, like how to defeat this particular, and then so what he did, he just went in and he just put himself out. He told this guy everything about himself. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and I'm okay with it. What's up? And the guy choked. He couldn't say anything about it. It's done. And that's one of the things I think why Eminem, one of the craziest rappers out there, because he put himself out, and no one can come out there at him for any reason. Like, yo, like I'm okay with who I am. I'm cool with it. This is what I did. This is my tribe. This is my tribulations. This is my strength. This is my weaknesses. And what's up? All right, say something about it. Whatever you say about me, it's not going to affect me. That's what I mean about this. You have to be okay with you first. And once you had that specific conclusion, that's it. It doesn't matter. Like, why not sharing your emotions? What's going to happen? Oh, this person is going to hurt me. How is he going to hurt you? You okay with who you are? If he does, he needs to go. Have the conversation. That's great. But these are the intelligent conversation we have early on to avoid that. If you're hesitant, if you don't feel it, just not getting that bad vibes, you follow your intuitions. Loving yourself is critical. Any other questions? Let me see. I think we're answering all the questions as it comes. Any questions? Tabarak said, at what point are you ready to share, share a life partner? Ready to share a life partner? Sudani cultural expectation, already gradual with readiness for marriage. It's you dictate that. When you're ready, you're ready. You're ready. And again, that's another thing. Do not put a timeline. And that's one of the craziest thing out there. Do not put a timeline. Like, yo, I'm 25 and I haven't got married. And again, that's the cultural pressure on you. Whenever you're ready for it, because that's the thing. Once you're ready, you did your list and things like that, then you put the efforts to find the person. You don't just do the list and stay home and expect something to happen. That will never happen, by the way. You have to put in the work. And that was that crazy example that I gave you. If you're looking for a doctor, go to the hospital and cough every day. Not around this time, with this corona crap. But think about it from that sense. If you're looking for someone who's, someone who's into books, go to the bookstore. If you want someone who's methodical and about thinking, enjoy coffee like you do, go to coffee shops. It's really just to think, just that thought process. And the more you start to focus on what you want to do and who you want, subhanAllah, it becomes, now you start to put these different, you start to make these different things, make the intentions to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember that relationship we talked about, get into it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for it, ask for guidance, but you got to stop putting the effort. When you think about, have that trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tie the camel, there is a verse in the Quran in Surah Maryam when he talks about the story of, like Sayyidatuna Maryam when she's about to have, the baby. And I actually started to think about this one a lot when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked her to Huzzi ilayki jiz'a al-nakhla. And the thought process from a sense, I'm a very visual guy, by the way. So I visualize this. So what I visualize is like she's sitting there, God made everything happen for her. Like, like went through the process and getting, the baby and all these different things. And when a woman is ready to give birth, it's like she's on that weakest point of her life. And then God is able to just to say, yo, dates come down. But the concept of like, yo, you're here, you want something, put the effort. And if you guys know the palm tree, like shaking a palm tree is you're not gonna get no dates. It's very strong. And you at your weakest point, and God is telling you, yo, show some efforts. Show me an effort, push it. Impossible for you to push it at your weakest and to get some dates. It's not gonna happen. But God said, do it. I'm not gonna give it to you. You gotta put in the work. And she did. And boom, she got the dates. And boom, we went through it. Right? So think about that from that sense. Make that tawakkul, take the step and start working toward that. If someone said, oh yeah, and things like, in your mind, like first question, like in your mind, one of the non-negotiable, you need someone who is an engineer. Hypothetically, right? The first question, like, yo, because you are an engineer, you want someone that is compatible, things like, what does he do? Oh, he's this is that. Doesn't fit that name. Okay, no. If it's a non-negotiable, sure, push it, talk, process. One of the favorite ones that I have was like one of my buddies, really good friends, was a client, and now like we're just really good friends. One of his goals in life is to move to London. That's his goal in life. So now, like we used to work on like identifying this thing. So we met few very awesome women here in this area. But like, and that's something that's a non-negotiable for him. So that's one of the questions that he'll ask, like after a date, he's like, yo, listen, what are your thought process about moving to London? And the minute's like, no, it's not what it is, because I have my career, my job, and my things in there. So like, great, perfect, let's keep it moving. Because in his mind, this is the end goal, and he's working towards that. So he doesn't want to waste a lot, because that's a non-negotiable for him. So think about it from this as like someone who's comfortable and confident about what they truly want, and it becomes very easy, right? Sure, it's taking some time for him to look for it, but he's not going to give up until he finds that. What do you think about the idea that a guy are designed to do the pursuing and women should just sit and wait per se? I'm against that. I'm definitely against that from a sense of, I'm gonna give you a couple of stories, and the reason why I say that, and that's culture versus Islam. In Islam, by the way, that's not what it is. I'll give you a couple of examples. Sayyidatna Khadija, when she met the Prophet ﷺ, she didn't wait for him to come in there. She met him, found everything he wanted to do. She asked, to go in and push it, and someone went and asked him about it. She took that person, and no one, like no woman is like Sayyidatna Khadija. Think about that from that sense, right? And if that's okay with her, culturally, Arab, haya, and all these different things, and our Prophet ﷺ was okay with it, yo, you're tripping. If you like someone in it, do it pursuing. It's your dream you're looking for. If you're very, go ahead and approach. Why not? Nothing wrong with that. Again, you stay within the boundaries. You stay, show respect and all these different things, but you pursue it. You talk. I mean, again, that's confidence. And if the person is not able to handle the confidence, do you want someone like that? You know what I'm saying? Just think about that from a psychological standpoint. I have no issues with it. It's that same exact story. Sayyidina Musa, when he went in and he left, like he was going, and he went in and he saw the two women that were sitting down, and and he went in and helped them out. And then the women went back to their dad. What happened? One of them said to him, like, yo, like, read the Quran, the verse. She told him, like, yo, like, Abi Stajir, like, yo, I like this dude. Talk to him. Can you, like, I mean, I like this guy. Can you talk to him? And then, and the dad went in and talked to him and said, yo, I want you to marry one of my daughters. She pursued him. it's really just that mindset as far as like, like again, if you're one of those individuals about the traditional way of doing things and you're okay with it, that's okay with it. But if you find someone that meets the criteria and you are interested, pursue it. Ask the question and see what the thought process behind it, right? If the person is able and we're open, honest, and went through with it, mafi ugad and mafi like, yo, like I can't believe she went up to me and all this stuff. Do you really want to marry someone who's that magnet? No, it's not. Keep it moving. You don't meet, it's not compatible. Just keep it moving. So that's what I'm saying. What I mean about this is like, think about it from that sense. And I'm not saying like pursuing and going in there, but just initiate, have the conversation, and have the conversation and but then again, to reach that level, you got to be okay with yourself. You got to be comfortable with yourself. You got to love yourself for who you are. And then you have the conversation. It's from a very intellectual conversation. Questions? I love the chats, by the way, you guys. I mean, I'm getting excited. But I'm like, yo, this is cool. Any questions? Dig deeper into your questionnaire, guys. About you can ask specific questions about your relationship. I'm okay with that. Doesn't have to be personal, but we'll just have to pick your brain a little. Would you rather have a guy of your dream that had to go after or wait a couple of years and settle in? That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Any questions?
AB, earlier you had asked, like with making your list, is there a point where it's like too picky?
No, never that. Never too picky. That's what you want. That's what you want. And you go after what you want. There's no too picky. And I promise you, Jan, like I've seen lists that's kind of like freak you out. Like, yo, what? Seriously? But that's what you want. That's what you're into. That's what you're into. Great. We'll go with that. I love that. Keep it. We'll go for it. And it's the funny part is like, we got to the level and then they found that person that meet that, which is just an amazing thing. And I really want to share one story with one of my current clients. Very smart, intelligent woman, very powerful, couple businesses, doing extremely well. Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very proud of her and what she does. And we started working on the relationship aspect of things and went through it. And we created the list, and that's a person that's like just never had the time for it. So now she's allocating the time, she's working on it. Amazing individual. I mean, just like when you think about about her and then just what she brings to the table, very giving and all this stuff. So she created the list, and seriously on that list is like, I'm looking for someone who's bold, I'm looking for someone with a beard. And it's the craziest, like every person she meets and start dating for a little bit, he's bald and a beard and has beard. I'm like, yo, this is how do you do that? It's like, yo, that's what I'm into. That's what I'm into. So subhanAllah, she went through, she met a person, she met a guy. And throughout that phase of digging deeper into the guy, like probably met like 80% of everything that she does. And then like they fast forwarded, I mean, they pushed a little bit, and then all of a sudden they got into like a little bit of disagreement. And then all of a sudden the guy just disappeared, right? So he disappeared for like probably a week. And, and then she called, and guy just nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden after a week, he came back. And he was like, yo, I was just upset because you said these different things. And then all of a sudden, like, I just wanted some time off. For her, communication is a non-negotiable. Literally, she said to him, like, yo, bro, all due respect, but that's not what I want. I want someone who's able to be strong enough to tell me, yo, I need my space. But for me to go out there and do this running behind, like, I just don't do that. And cut that off. Respected at the highest level. And now back on the search. But it was like one of those things, it's like, and he asked that question, I was like, like, is this really what you meant? She said, absolutely, I will never settle. For me, this is an important piece to me. Like, that's disrespectful to me reaching out, me trying to fit. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. You gotta kick rock. And they keep them coming back, apologize, go, done. Because she was like, Abdullah, you told me I cannot change someone unless he wants to change. For me, this whole dala and haradan just disappear from, no, I don't do that. I don't play this game. I'm a mature woman that I know what I want. I don't have that time. Right? So think about that. So never too picky.
I have a question.
Hit me.
So what are your thoughts on love language? Like the idea that you should find someone who speaks your love language, whether that's like words of affirmation or prioritizing quality time.
Hello. Now that's, I love it. I mean, if that's in your priority list, because each person is different, right? If that's what you share, I mean, some people are very emotional, some people are very into love, and some people it's, for them this is something that's a critical piece of their life. And if that meets every other thing, so it's not just, don't just focus on that. I mean, the love language is amazing. It's that connection, is that communication, is everything around it, which is awesome. But it's bigger than that, right? So initially, sure, that attraction and things like, but the concept of it is to dig deeper into your list, to dig deeper into the thought process, and to dig deeper and trying to understand what this person is all about. And if he meets, all the things that you're looking for, amazing. Remember, 4 of them, like love and connection is great, but he needs to meet 4, and you should meet 4 of his.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Guys, it's love finding partners and no questions. Come on, man. This is an exciting one, so have fun with it. Don't be shy, jump in. Do you think it's better to make it clear from the start we want with someone, or to get to know them as a friend first? I think the initial process of digging deeper, that's within couple of dates, guys. I mean, I want to be honest with you, these questionnaire. Because again, what is the first 2 days doing anyways? Just getting to know each other. And not in a very like, yo, harsh, this is what it is, and I don't want you to marry in a week. No, it's literally start to have a conversation and just pick your brain. I mean, within the conversation, you'll be able to gauge that. If, for example, one of the things that you want to do is like to have kids, the question will be like, just, hey, what do you do and how you do? How are you with your cousins and nephews and nieces, and what's going on? And, just bring that in and just during the conversation. Because a lot of times, like, people will go in, they'll be so attracted to each other and then go on a date and they just don't say anything. They just, again, there's no communication. But preparing yourself to jump in and start to ask some of these questions, that'd be awesome. I mean, it would be a very, very good way to do it. So figure out what you want, go on these, dates, talk, and then ask. But it's critical that person know where you stand early on versus, because again, starting as friends, going through the process. Now you have, if you give the guy like that intention early on that we're just friends and things like that. And I mean, and there's nothing going on in there. I mean, the person's like, and by the way, guys, for us guys, I mean, for us, we're very direct as far as what we see. I mean, we don't like, we don't do guessing, and we don't like it's, if you say, hey, I'm hungry, I'll go to the store and get you a sandwich. But the whole like hungry, and then the thought process is go out there, have dinner, and go to the store. I mean, this has just become very complicated for us. So just take us out like a daglan, all right? So if the intentions is for you to push things and ask the question, get this conversation moving to get to that level, right? If that's not the intention is to go in and get to know someone and spend the time thing. Again, that's all goes back into that preference. How long do you think it takes for an individual to decide whether or not they want to marry a person? I think that's a $1 million question that applies to you as an individual. And the reason behind, like, once you're ready, you're ready. And I want to be honest with you guys, for all that, our females, like, they're watching this, like guys, like, we know what we want. I started to put you guys out there like that, but we know what we want. Within a couple of dates, in our minds, if this is a relationship that we want to take serious, we want to push, we will take serious and we will push. And this is one of the biggest issues that I tend to see with a lot of my clients in Sudan specifically, that will get into it with a relationship, then all of a sudden, like, the woman will say, hey, what's going on, marriage? And no, I don't know. And I don't know. Because it's always the things that's happening behind it.
Abdul Wahab,
talk to me.
So I have a question on, compromise. And this, some people say that compromise is kind of it's the way like a relationship kind of evolves, especially a long-term relationship. So just want your insights in terms of compromise, like how far do you compromise, if that makes sense?
Hey, that's a very good question. Compromise, again, based on your comfort. I'm one of those individuals that I cannot do long distance. I cannot do long distance at all. So the whole idea of a long distance just does not work for me. For me, like, if you ask me, that's none of my negotiable. So I do not want that, because for me, I want to be able to see the person, talk to the person, and things like that. So it goes back into preference. If it's okay for you to compromise, and if it's okay for you to go through this long distance, go for it. right? But then again, you gauge it and have the conversation. Like if, for example, from day one, you guys talk to the person said, I want to go to, travel outside the country. I want to work. I want to come in FC. The question is like, well, how long is that? How can I help with this process? Because, maybe, I need a couple of years. Is that realistic? Let's think about your goals. Let's think about what you want to do. Is this 2 years realistic? So from an expectation standpoint, like you can be compromising and waiting for 10 years. If that's your preference, it's okay. But if that's not your preference, I mean, again, you put yourself in a position. I know clients that waited for 10, 15, 20 years. And that's true story. Currently have some clients, and a couple of them actually tuning in. They're going to be watching this later on. And it started with the conversation of like, I'm going to move. I'm going to get there. Give me a couple of years to go in FC and things like that. 8, 10 years, 20 years, that one of them. And then he came back and he never married. He went, got married to someone who's 10 years younger, and life just kept on moving. So again, that's that preference that I mean from compromise. If it's within your, 80%, and that's okay with you, that's okay with you. If it's not okay with you, it's not okay with you. So the whole concept of long distance, it's if you're okay with it, go for it. If you're not okay with it, make it known. It's okay, because guess what? You just keep it moving. Like I said, for me specifically, I cannot do long distance. I couldn't. And that's why when my mom said, hey, let me look into that, I just couldn't do it. I just moved myself.
I feel you. That's a great response, bro. Just to follow up on that, do you believe in time, that sometimes, two people can be meant for each other or something like that, but the timing might not be right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100%. And that's the thing, marriage is like, and we talked about this a couple of days ago, as far as readiness to think. I know people that were together, broke off, like they broke up. He went in, dated someone, she went in, dated someone, and then did not work out, came back, and they got together, they married each other. Timing is always everything, but you have to have that belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything happened for a reason. There's that qada and qadar, right? You believe in it, you go through with it, and you don't beat yourself up for it. If you're meant to be, you're meant to be, but you have to put in the efforts into it. So I do believe in that. So if, but again, that doesn't mean if that breakup happened for you to wait while he's continuing to do what he needs to do with the mindset. Because again, you work on what you need to work on, right? You work on yourself, you put yourself as a priority, and you continue to work. If it worked out, perfect, great. If it did not work out and it meant for you guys to come back together, it will definitely happen. But we cannot wait. And that's the thing. Because I know people that, and actually have a client when I was in Sudan, that's the problem. She broke up with him and he moved on, and she's stuck. He got engaged, and she's still waiting. She's, and then and it's getting into that dark side of her and all these different things, dawat and going in and jinn and all that. I'm like, yo, calm down, bro. Like, I don't want to piss you off. She's not doing some crazy stuff to me, but it was just that mindset. Like, why are you waiting? Oh, for him not to work out so I can come back to me. No, that's not how it works. You're not valuing yourself. You got to keep it moving. Hopefully that answered that.
That did, bro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Oh, bro, you got it. How long do you think the individual to decide whether or not to want to marry a person? As I mentioned, I mean, it's up to you and what your preference is. Do they meet that or not? But as I mentioned, as guys, we know what we want. So if you know what you want, initiate, you have the conversation. If things work out, keep pushing. If not, it's that preference. If one person is compromising only, that's messed up. I get that. What about compromising a marriage, especially if you get in an argument and have a preference on sometimes again, I think that goes back into Hadi. That's a good question. When it comes to marriage, I think that goes back into that communication, respect, and appreciation. Like in arguments and in fights and all these different things, if people are communicating and every person is respecting each other's opinion, and each person is respecting each other as a person, like, it'll be okay. That compromise will be okay because it comes from respect, and you know where that person is coming from. Like, it's not my way or the highway. It will never work that way, and you can never force someone to do something. Is that communication? Is that understanding? Like, for example, like in our household, right? My wife knows if we're arguing. And we argue all the time and things like that. But I'm arguing, like, and she developed that throughout the year. She understood that. If I'm angry and I'm mad and she'll just give me that space. It's cool, and because that's what I wanted. I communicated that a couple of times. Yo, she get it. Like, I'm angry, just give me that space. I would trip out for a second, and then I'll cool off, and then come back and have that conversation. Same exact with her. And again, that's knowing as I mentioned to you guys, I'm very visual. So anything that you say to me, I'm visualizing it in a big picture. My wife is very auditory. So my wife, everything she hears, she processes it. So early on in our marriage, it was a lot of like, I would say things, for me, I pictured it, or she would say something and then I would respond to it. And then she would be stuck on that word that I said, or she'd be stuck on that one thing that I said. And I was like, well, I never said that, because for me, when I pictured it, and it never came out as a word. She's like, no, you said that. Then I started to work towards, again, like being very careful as far as what I say, and being very selective is my words. That's that compromise. And subhanAllah, at a phase of our life, like when we fight, like I will seriously like when I went, like when I will never say it, because I don't want to like regret saying something. I'll text her that to force her to read it, because she's she's more auditory, so she'll read it and she'll get what I'm saying, and then she will say what I need to say, and I'll picture it, and then we'll go through that way. Just an interesting like adjustment early on of our lives to get to know each other. But that'll be the cool part to do it, as far as like understanding, get to know each other, and enjoy the process. And that's what I mean about it. You go through the process to enjoy it. Marriage is about you, right? And you want to have fun. You want to have that peace of mind. You want to have that love language, and you want to be there with that person. You want to hold hands. You want to travel the world together. You want to conquer the world together. You want to open up these businesses together. You want to have that person to just complete you. That's what you want. You don't want to be stressed out, get into a marriage where everything is stressful, everything is just crazy. No, that's not what you want, right? Do you think guys and girls sometimes aren't honest with potential future partners, like what you said about if they truly want to get married? And I guess we have to make sure that we read the signs. Like if the woman who does didn't accept the guy who disappeared for a week. Yeah, I mean it's and you have to, but again, that goes back into the simplicity of understanding, knowing who you truly are. That's the key. Once you understand yourself and understand what you want, you have to be honest. If you're not ready to get married, you're not ready to get married. And I respect that. That's it. Yo, I'm not ready. Okay, it's okay. Because you have priorities. You focus on school, you focus on making money, you focus on whatever it is you focus on. It's okay. It's your life. Don't settle. And don't just accept it for the sake of accepting it. Put you first. Right? What is the difference between the soulmate and the significant other? And this is, again, I think this is something, it goes back into the efforts that we put in, right? Once you're in a relationship, it's nurturing. I mean, like relationships, like, I mentioned this as a business that with two CEOs, every CEO have to give 100%. But then that investment in the business, getting the best tools, hiring the right staff, connecting, getting the right knowledge, continue to work on the business for the business to work. And then the minute it takes two for a relationship to start, but it takes one for the relationship to break up, to fail. So that would be the answer. Like the more we work on, on that relationship and giving and learning needs and wants and respect and all these different things, that's when you become that soulmate. But then the minute that you're just not invested in your relationship, and it is what it is, that's when it turned out to be your significant other. What would you do to notice a previous trauma experience getting triggered and potentially being projected into your partner? This is a very, very good question. And that's why I think a lot of that coaching, that couple coaching, that marriage counseling prior to it is great. Your previous traumas and all these different things, that's you working on you, and you before you get into any marriages, and you go through that process, because that's something that you should be investing on figuring it out. You need a therapist to do it, go through, hire a therapist to do it. Remember we talked about that? That's your own investment. To hire a coach, do what you need to do to get over what you need to get over. And don't, again, just, like the intentions behind what you want to do. But you have to work on yourself prior to get into it, because that happens all the time. You say something, that's something, that previous trauma will kick in, and it just trigger, and then it became just very frustrating, because a lot of times when that happened, we're not communicating. And that goes back into the three important things in a relationship. And you want to just hold on to yourself. And it becomes tough. So my advice would be, work on you initially before you get into a relationship, before you get to a marriage. And even if you are in a relationship, but before marriage, get a therapist, get before, even if you feel like this is what you need to figure it out, get a coach, get whatever you need to get, work on these things, identify it. And there's a lot of different techniques that you can overcome whatever that is in life. You can overcome anything, by the way, you guys, just put it out there. If you put your mind to it to overcome it, sure thing. A lot of different strategies, to get over trauma and to get over grief, to get over all these different things, being rejected, self-esteem, confidence. It's all real, but there's strategies to get over it. You just need to get on that route. I mean, you're not alone. You're not alone. We need to stop being afraid of the term therapy and therapist, and we just need to stop that. Culturally, we're ready to create a new future for ourselves. We gotta invest on ourselves, guys. We talked about the trauma one. Let me see what other questions. I think this is more of a question that it might, figure out yourself out first. But how do we build trust with someone in a small space, space of time, with intentions and goal marriage? I've been a couple married. I've seen couples marry within a year of knowing each other, but then there are more problems and things like that. Gotcha. So again, trust is it's going through the process. I mean, it's not given. No, someone will just say, "Yo, trust me," and you just trust them. It's action more than words. That's what trust is. And and you start to do. You just start with the small things. Again, if you feel like like you need a little bit more time to get to know the person, take the more time to get to know the person. Like, don't settle. Just again, and that's and when you say about the couples that just got married quicker and then found the problem, they didn't do their due diligence early on to dig deeper and identify who they are and what they want. Probably they met each other, they loved each other, they got attracted to each other. It was great, couple good dates, things are great. Want to get married, just keep it moving. Took the risk out of it, and with the risk, I mean, that's what comes with it. I'm not saying that might not happen. It might happen if that's what you want, right? So that's what I'm saying. Take the time. It's your life. You're setting up this whole thing, like for the rest. I mean, it's literally you working on creating this thing for you. So put yourself at a position. Qaida said, Muhammad Majid had the book Before You Tie the Knot, where he explained the partner is not written for you, rather than you have to free to choose. Like life in general, we have a free will. Yeah, choices. That's exactly right. It's all about the choices that we make. How do we know when we're ready to get married? And if we're not ready, is it right for us to get to know people? I mean, it's Hamid Jafar, that's just a very good question. From a sense of like, I mean, you want to, I mean, again, like the question that you ask yourself, like, why do you want to get married, right? And you dig deeper into that. Why? For me, for example, when I asked myself that question at 27, it was more, I wanted to get married because I'm tired. I'm tired of like just dating. I'm tired of just, like different relationships. I just want to get settled. That's one. And then I asked myself, why? Why? Because I wanted to have kids and I wanted to make sure that, and alhamdulillah, and look, when I had kids, I wanted to make sure that the gap is not huge. So I'm able to connect to them. I'm able to understand them, and I'm able to have that energy to do things for them, to run with them, to play soccer with them, to go to their schools, to get involved in their education, and to do all the different things that I wanted to do with them. So in my mind, that's why it was important for me to do that at that specific age. And alhamdulillah, and that's what worked out for me. So ask yourself the question, why do you want to get married? And when you feel like you have all the right reasons behind it, then you seek that. All right, let me see. What other questions? I think facts. How do we get the balance between being and communicating honesty, and not being hurtful and ruin trust in a relationship? I think it's being okay with yourself first, because if every person is okay with themselves and then having that conversation to be honest, as far as communicating, I mean, it's all about the approach itself. I mean, if for example, your partner is saying something to you that's hurtful, just communicate that. You don't have to be mean and disrespectful about it. Just say, yo, listen, I just don't appreciate when you say these things, and your partner be okay to accept that from you. But if they or they get upset because what you said, and again, that gets you to question, and the intention that gets you to question, are you ready for it or not, right? So it's thinking about that from that sense, but continue to just to be okay with who you are. And it's all about the approach, how we communicate. It's all about the approach. It's not about just saying everything in your heart and just say it and just shoot and just that's not communicating. That's being hurtful, and that's being ما في مراعاة other person, all these different things. So you got to be conscious and you got to be, thoughtful as far as what you do if you want that relationship to continue to improve. Because you're just being rude and disrespectful and mean and say it's just nasty things and things like that. How do you expect? And that's first of all, you're not showing self-respect. So how and you're not respecting the other person. So how do you expect to be respected, right? So it goes back into the needs and wants as far as what you were looking for. God knows everything. Facts. Hopefully that answered that. Any other questions? How do we get a balance between being okay? We talked about that. And then maybe from your experience, what is the biggest challenge before marriage and post-marriage? Before marriage, I think one of the biggest thing is the baggage that we bring into the table. That's one of the biggest challenges, to be honest with you. That if we don't let go and we don't spend the time to know what we want and having that confidence and that self-esteem that we love ourselves enough, that becomes a huge challenge before marriage because we become very like aware, like we ready for something to go wrong, and not expecting, not have that good faith, not trusting other people because we, like especially we got hurt several times. So that the answer to how to fix that challenge is by for us to dig deeper into who we truly are and find out ourselves. Post marriage is communication, absolutely communication, and that's probably like the number one, like the number one lead to why a lot of people get divorces. Communication. They don't know how to communicate. And people rather communicate with friends and families and some crazy people and other people that they're not married and they're not in a relationship and get advice from them than versus just to speak with that person. And that's a major problem. Because guess what? Your friend who's not married or who got like 10 divorces in the past 10 years cannot give you proper advice on marriage. They just cannot, because they don't know it. So that's what I'm saying. Be very careful as far as who you get these advice from. And avoid family, to be honest with you, because family will have a lot of emotions. They want what's best for you. So they'll give you advice on things that they think is the right thing for you. You know yourself better. And that's why a lot of times, like I tell people, like, get in, a therapist or, or a coach or someone like that can help becoming very, like, he's gonna give it to you, she's gonna give it to you from a direction of like, not like there's no judgment, there's no attachment. That's what they do. That's a professional thing. So they'll give you the truth behind it. But telling our parents and telling things, just depending on your parents and their perspective and how the situation. But 99% of the time, they want to protect you and they want to make sure that you don't get hurt. So they'll give you advice to make you feel better by yourself. And sometimes, like, if you're wrong, you don't need to feel better by yourself. You need someone that can say to you, no, you didn't do it right. Maybe change the way you change your attitude, change this or change that. As family members, they'll never do that. Agree with you, 100%. Any other questions? How do we overcome a fear that will never happen to you? That this will never happen to you? Guys, I promise you, invite me back for a fear workshop. I'm open to it. And we'll address all these different fear because this is real. I promise. It's one of the craziest thing out there. Fear is real. But again, that's a good question, by the way, from EH. The concept, when you start to think about fear, if you live in that fear, that's definitely going to affect your relationship and how you approach that relationship. So you have to be, conscious of, like, when you are ready to jump into it and you nurture it and do things and you do your due diligence, you did your homework, you understood who you are and you got into it and you communicated and you respected and things like that. And you did everything on your power. And then all of a sudden you get hurt. That's not you. It's on the other person. Right? So even if it happens to you, it's nothing to do. If you honest with yourself and you did everything possible from your end, that to nurture, to help, to build, to communicate, to respect, to do everything on your power to improve that relationship, and then all of a sudden it did not work out. And like I said, it takes two people to get in a relationship and build, but it takes one to destroy it. And it could be either one. Hopefully that answered that.
I had a question.
Talk to me.
Okay, so I'm the kind of person that, like, I'm always vocalizing my emotions and everything that I feel, but then I find myself that within that process, it's easier for me to feel hurt when I feel like it's not reciprocated. So whether that's like in a friendship or so. So like my question is, and this is something that I really struggle with, how do you balance between being emotionally vulnerable, but at the same time protecting your heart?
I love it. That's where proximity is power. That's who you surround with, your individual, like the people that you surround yourself with, I think will be able to know you best, and they'll be able to, and then I think for you to have that environment where you're able to express, yourself for who you are, and with individuals that able to give you that corrective, that feedback that will help you to grow within that sense is a critical piece. Because again, being, and the reason why I say that to you, because just expressing yourself and going out there and just putting yourself out and expressing your emotions and getting hurt, and because again, sometimes you say it to individuals that they're not worth it, in a sense of it. So being very selective, I think, in a sense of it, being selective by surrounding yourself with individuals that help give you that thing to help you grow in that sense will be critical. Second thing is, like, when you say that you're very vocal about your needs and wants and things like that, but then you get hurt. You get hurt because you express it, or you get hurt because I think that's just the question. Do you get hurt because
I think it's more so when I feel like I'm the one doing the expressing and I'm not receiving that, or I feel like I've opened up a part of myself, but maybe like the person doesn't understand that this is something big to me, or that they're not willing. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. So that's what I'm saying. Being selective, being selective, and digging deeper into what you truly are. So for you, for example, one of the things that I'll put on that list, I need someone as a partner that's okay with me, accept me for who I am, allow me to express my feelings. I need someone who's emotional. I want someone to reciprocate that, and come back to me and talk to me and do all these different things and share their feelings and put their heart out for me. That's what you want. Put that on that list. So when you start to work on these different individuals, because again, it goes back into that trust. Remember, we talked about that like early on. It's like you gotta have in a relationship, there must be some trust in it. Like when you're putting yourself out there, you're expecting the other person. So do you do diligent early on to identify who you truly are? Like, what do you want? Your strengths and weaknesses, and what you truly want. Take that a notch, and then start to dig deeper into like becoming okay with who you are. Accept yourself for who you are, and know that there is a person out there for you that will accept you for who you are, because this is something that's just an amazing thing. By the way, just to put it out there, there's a lot of guys that I know specifically that's what they want, because you talk about communication, right? And one of the biggest issues, like, women are not able to express their feelings, or because they don't know, what to do with it. I know a lot of guys that's what they want. They want, their woman to let them know and to express them so they can express their feelings. It's just an interesting thing. So, so do your homework, then dig deeper into what you want, and again, and then surround yourself with individuals that will allow you to express that, because they'll know you better, and they'll be able to give you some proper feedback. And it's because that's what the relationship is all about. It's a give and take. It's not one dimensional. It's give and take. And as I mentioned, it takes two people to create a relationship and one person to break it, and that's the truth. If you both of you guys are invested and put in the work, the time, the energy to get to know each other, to respect each other, to communicate with each other, to cherish each other, to just embrace each other's ideas and all these different things will work out. But if one person is not invested, it's not going to work. And then one person will feel hurt, and one person will feel, like disappointed. And then one person will just start to get these things and take it deep in that it's their fault. And then it's going to affect the next relationship and the next one and the next one. So the key to this whole thing is just to understand who we truly are, and then surround yourself with proper individuals that you're able to express that, and you'll be heard, and they'll be able to properly give you some feedback on that. Hopefully that answered that, of course.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Awesome. All right. Let me see. Culture. Okay. Someone said now culture, getting married. Okay. That's not a question. Okay. Can you speak on forgiveness? I think it's hard. Truly apologize about this. I think it's hard for our generation to see people the same way once they overstep a bound. How do we grow rather than break up and break it if you need to? So it's a very good question like that. And I think when you think about forgiveness, you think about the non-negotiable, right? And I think it's about like where you at in the relationship. If you are with the person and you're talking to the person, you get to know that individual, and again, if the things that they do, like whatever that is, it's on your non-negotiable, right? And I think the first thing that I probably encourage every person to communicate. right? If you to communicate your needs and wants, like if let's say you are with someone, and I'm gonna just pick, for example, I don't know, let's get an example, right? Like you want someone that like to tell you everything that they go through in their life, and that's something that's a non-negotiable. And then all of a sudden you discover that the partner is just going out there and doing all these different things. Instead of just like shutting off and breaking up and not allowing that person, to explain what happened, that communication is critical. Gather all the facts, before you make a decision. And that's why I tell people, like, never make a decision when you're angry, and never make a decision when you're hungry, and never make a decision when you're emotional or you're happy. Don't do that, So get the facts, understand the facts, and then to have communication and communicate then when you're not in the state of mind where you're angry and or upset or happy or all the, then have the communication. And then from the information that you gather, you make that decision. You understand that we all human beings, we all make mistakes. So whatever you understand the point of view, because everything happened, we talked about choices, right? The person found themselves in a situation, they made a choice. So your mindset, you're trying to understand the reasons behind it. If they're refusing to communicate and they just stuck with it and just upset, again, that puts you in a different state. But if they were able to express their feeling and you were able to understand where they're coming from, then you have a decision to make. You can break up, forget that person, break up and keep moving because at some point it doesn't fit well with you. Or you can just, or just give a person, you have that choice. So forgiveness is a critical piece. And just think about that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive. And we talked about that 2 days ago. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a. God is able, and he understand that human beings make mistakes, and God able, willing to forgive everything. So who are you not to forgive? Right? So think about it from that sense, evaluating the relationship, understanding where you are within the relationship, and understand like the type of mistakes or the type of things that this person put themselves into and put you through. And then from there, you make a calculated decision whether you want to forgive. And that's something I think we talked about in the past couple of days. We sometimes, just because we're not friends, that doesn't mean that we're enemy. Just because we stop talking doesn't mean like that I hate you. No. I want what's good for you. Do what you need to do. Go in with your life and do what you have. Because for me, it's like I don't have that time to hate and envy and just be worried about. No, it did not work out for all these reasons. I gave you a chance to explain yourself. I gave you a chance to explain myself. We just realized this thing is not working out. Great. Thank you so much for the experience. You put me through whatever you put me through. Not take it personally, because whatever that you went through put you in a position to succeed. You learn from it. You understand from it. You discovered yourself going through the process. Great. Be upset. Again, embrace the emotions that we talked about earlier. Understand that. Feel the feelings. Feel upset. Feel angry. Feel hurt. Feel disappointed. Great. Give yourself a couple of days. Understand that. And then you start to get back into life. Life will never stop, right? So you can continue with that momentum. But don't find yourself just, it's all about like hurt. It's all about like that person and getting stuck in that process and not forgiving. That's not what it's all about. Just, it's you're taking a weight on you that's unnecessary. Come to conclusion, fine. And then sometimes, and that's another thing, sometimes you will never get a conclusion, but you're strong enough, you know yourself enough to be okay with that. Right? So keep that in mind. Hopefully that answered that question. Speaking of forgiveness, let me see, any other question? I'm not sure if I missed any. I know it's 7:25. We have about another 5 minutes, hopefully. So any other question?
I had written a question that I know, like from a religious point of view, I think Simon and Rooney both touch on it, but I was kind of curious from like your perspective. Are you supposed to disclose everything to your partner about your past?
No.
And at what points should you?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't, to be honest with you, because again, and that's something. I want to be very careful when I say that, because at some point, what's the point, right? That's the $1 million question. What's the point? Closure? Why closure? When you met me, we talked to me, we processed things, we understand each other. We had a phase at this point. Because again, I don't want to mix adat and all this BS. You want to say that like in the mix. A lot of times somebody like, we want that closure, we want to understand, and then people get hurt. It doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve the other person, and it doesn't serve as bigger purpose. So why go through the process, right? If you dated a few people in the past and things like that, how is that going to affect you coming in and telling the other person? Remember we talked about that. If you make a mistake we make sins and all these different things, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself, right? And that is and to be honest, that's literally my stand with this whole thing. There's, if it's not serving you and it's not serving the other person and it doesn't serve a bigger purpose, don't do it. What's the point of it? Literally, what's the point of it? If you say to me like, yo, like this person, was a thief in his past life, for example, and then made tawbah, moved forward in life, started a business, did all these different things. What's the point of bringing that up? No point. Shame and going through and finger pointing, all these different things. There's no point of it. So just think about it from that sense. The 3 questions that you ask yourself: is it good for me? Good for others? Does it serve a bigger purpose? If you answer no to any of them, don't do it. Don't do it. Because why are you doing it? Like, for what reason? To be judged? Why? Because the person you are today, it's not the person that you were yesterday. So why bring in the past into it? Right? And if someone who's so drilled on the past and keep picking your stuff about the past and asking all these different questions about the past, I mean, you ask the question, what's the point of it? Like, I don't get a point of it, to be honest with you. Because you are, like, right now, well, after this workshop, you gain some knowledge, and hopefully that you did not know an hour ago. So you are a completely different person now versus an hour ago. So what the past going to do to help serve anything? Nothing. Right? Hopefully that answered that.
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
Of course. I think we want to know their past in the fear that they're repeated. Why? Like, I mean, what does that have to do with you? Like, if they repeat, that's on them, right? And if you look into your, I mean, again, when you start to communicate and when you start to pick on each other and start to understand their needs and wants and all these different things, as far as going through that journey, I mean, you discover everything you need to know and do your due diligence as far as knowing and asking, do all these different things. And if you discover that, while going through the process, just break it off. I mean, if it's on your no, it's your no. But to be honest with you, I mean, I don't see a point of it. Because guess what? Even if you didn't have it on the past, they might just come up with it. But again, that's on them. That's not on you. Right? Because it's definitely going to affect your relationship in the future. I mean, it's definitely going to do it in a negative way. Because if you build that trust and you feel all these different things, then all of a sudden you found something and then you ask a question, then all of a sudden you start to think, you start to process things. I mean, why? Why? It's a phase in their life that they went through. It's a phase in your life that you went through. I mean, do you want to go out there and just tell them everything that you went through in your life? Right? It goes both ways. Even if you feel like, like you didn't do anything wrong, but in the mind of it, it's like, well, right? It's all about involvement. It's all about growing. And that's what we are doing. We're learning. We're here in this workshop, thinking and asking these intelligent questions here and learning, gaining knowledge and pick each other up and understanding from each other to grow. Right? And it's all about maturity, because the more we grow, the more we become mature. Again, that's my perspective. I don't think it's necessary. Like I said, you just open up wounds that's unnecessary. And it gets back into like, closure, and it becomes like, and now it's like we shifted away from the concept of everything into becoming all these, that trust situation. And what did you do? And how can you do it? And why didn't you tell me? And all, like, it just opened up wounds it's unnecessary, to be honest with you. How do we maneuver around the cultural norms in our culture? Time and getting married has become hard because of the amount of money. I think this is a stand that it's a very good question, but I think this is something that you should definitely jump in and be okay with. Islamically, when you think about it from an Islamic perspective, Rasulullah like talked about, like, like لينكح الرجل المرأة لجمالها لمالها ولدينها. So he talked about, like the man will marry a woman for her beauty, for her money, or for her deen, and attribute that to deen. Like, the Prophet ﷺ is asking, he has another hadith, and he talked about like, the less mahar that you put up, it's probably the better one that is. So all these things are deen. And it's so interesting that our parents, and culturally, we're trying to get that philosophical, like, oh, like we pick and choose what we want to pick and choose. Wrong, right? If you're okay with it, again, that goes back into the list. If you feel like, and by the way, you guys, I'm one of those individuals that I got married in. We did a very traditional wedding. I think it was like a 4-day wedding. We had about 1,000 people in our weddings. A very traditional Sudanese crazy wedding. Wallahi, guys, as an advice from a big brother, nothing to do with anything else, but as an advice with brother, that's a waste of freaking money. Like the amount of money we spent on my wedding, that literally would have got us a house. This is how just crazy that is. And come to think about it from that sense, like what? This is nuts. So think about it from that sense. Why? To do what? We had 1,000, and this is wallahi is a fact. We invited 1,000 people into all the 4 days event. Fast forward now 80 years into marriage, I'll probably talk to 4. So I need to go back and send it to collection to get my money back. This is just ridiculous. So the way we do things just does not make any sense. The money that you're thinking about, you want to do, culture, all these different things is great. Think about it from an investment. Remember, 2 CEOs owning a company, spending $30,000 in a wedding. That's a beautiful, nice down payment on a house. If you're not into houses and things like that, that will pay your rent for a year. Should you do that? We'll do this. I get it. Do something Magul, do things, that you need to do, but put you first. $30,000 will put you in a very nice honeymoon, get your 2 cars paid for in full, right? Think about that from that sense. Don't start your life in debt. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Weddings just, again, it's very culturally very expensive for no darn reason. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And for why? So people can complain about the food that you brought into the wedding, and other people can complain that you did not invite them to it. I just want to be honest. I'm sorry, but this is exactly what happened. In every Sudanese wedding, people are complaining about the food and people complaining that they didn't get invited. It doesn't matter what you bring into the table. People still tripping about the food. This is just crazy. So do not do that. We need to change this. So think about that from that sense. A person's coming to you to get married to you. See what's going on to it. What's reasonable? What's not reasonable? Do something right. Where's the money? That's the budget. This is my budget. Let's take that in there and start to plan future numbers. Remember, we talked about from one of the 6 things that we talked about: finances, money. Put yourself in a position where you're winning. Don't put yourself in a position where you're losing. Starting to adapt. Come on, man. What are you doing? Get a house, furnish it, do all these different things. That's a better investment. You're living there versus going out there and spending $30, $40, $50, $60,000 that you didn't have for one night. And then half of the people in there are gonna come in late anyways. So then these guys, I love this. I mean, I love to take jabs on my culture. I love it, but that's the reality. Hey, yo, invitation starts at 6, everybody shows up at 10. They do a couple hours and they leave, and then you lost all this crazy money that you have. It's a good time. I mean, again, it's a good time with family and all these different things. The people that matter, spend the time, but don't overspend, because you make it very difficult, and especially for the younger generation that want to get married. It becomes very, very, very hard for people to get married, because the idea of getting married, especially for the guys, and I want to shout out for our guys. Literally, like, yo, I don't have the money for it. I need to work. I need to find a job, 2 jobs, save all this money, take a bank loan from bank, sell all these different, to fulfill all these different things, and then spend the next 10 years of my life paying back the debt. Why? Make it easy for each other, guys. If it is that person made 80% of the things that you're looking for makes sense to you, connections, respect, communication, and it's great. And the only thing is, like, you want to drop that 10, 30, 40, $50,000, don't do that. Put yourself in a position, because guess what? A $10,000 wedding will do the same thing. If people love you, if families love you, respect you for what that is and for who you are, and want you to put you in a position of winning, they'll be okay with it. They're not. It's on them, not on you. And one of the things that I did, subhanAllah, during my wedding, like everybody's coming in, like, yo, we want you to do this and do this. I want you to bring TVs. So literally started saying to them, thank you so much. Amazing idea. Great, no problem. Pay for it. And right away they stopped. Great. Nope, we're good. Thank you. No problem. Oh, I want you to change the colors to this thing. No problem. I love the idea. Pay for it. I wanted you to increase the number of the people from 1,000 to 1,050. Wallahi, no problem. I would love to. Pay for it. Oh, they stopped real quick. Please do, but don't put yourself in a position and adapt. Put yourself in a position to win. And you do that by communicating with your partner, talk about what you need and wants, and what's important to you. A down payment for a house is more important to you, for yourself and your kids. You don't believe in buying a house? No problem. $30,000 will get you literally rent for the whole year, free. So you can start to work on other things, work on your businesses, do what you need to do. 3:37. We'll take about 3 more minutes. Any other questions? And then, Tabarak, if she doesn't mind, like jumping in with that amazing dua, like, I mean, got us all excited every day in the past couple of days, mashallah. Like.
It would be my honor.
Awesome. Any more questions? Any more questions? We'll take one more question. Awesome. I think no questions. That's good. No questions is a good thing. Here we go. Can someone make dua? Make dua, we make it. Can we make dua? We make it. Yeah, inshallah. Inshallah, we should. I mean, inshallah. I mean, this is. I mean, and wallahi, subhanallah. And it's all about the intentions, and it's all about. I mean, I think it's been an honor, and it's been amazing to ride this journey with you guys. I mean, I love the questionnaire. I love the methodical way of thinking. I love this generation, guys. Wallahi, I'm so proud of you and what you do and what you think about, because you're not going with the motion and you're not just following. You guys are not followers. You guys are leaders, and that's what excites me to do and feel so proud of what you do. So thank you so much, you guys, for the journey. And I'm wallahi, and so happy for you guys just to be able to connect with you guys and answer some of the questions that you guys are bringing to the table, because it's not just questions that just been thrown out. It's questions were methodically been thought about and being thrown out to the table. So this is great, but please, like, if you just one thing that you want to take from me for the past 2 or 3 days, please learn, just work on loving yourself and working on respecting yourself and putting yourself first, and invest in yourself in so many different ways and shapes, whatever that you need, put that investments. Because you have you, and that's what matters. Keep working on that, keep grinding, don't sleep until you get to what you want. And inshallah, each and every one of you guys will be so successful, whatever that is that you're working on. It's just a different generation, different field, different energy, and that's exciting. I'm here. Anything you need, I think majority of you guys, follow me on the Instagram, and a lot of you guys that talking to me. I mean, I'm literally one text away. Text me, call me. I mean, just send me a message, whatever that is that you need, that I'm able to help with. I mean, for me, and this is from the heart, I'm very big on abundance. Everything that I know is out on the table. All my connections are all out on the table. Everything that I go through from a business, from anything that it's out there on the table. That is how you get more, by giving more. So anything you need, please let me know. And inshallah, yani, you guys gonna get everything in your mind.
I have a question. Is it okay?
Way to go, Noon. Like, wait all the way to 70. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Hit me.
Sorry, I was hesitant actually. My question is that so I'm really more religious than kind of culture and all of that, and I really like to stick to that. But I feel like it's been a problem with not just family, like some of my friends. Like, for example, I don't like for example, in religion, saying putting too much makeup and all of that. So I don't do that. Wearing tight clothes, like I'm good with guys and all of that. But then I don't like to, like feel like the need of kind of attracting every guy to show my whatever. I try to avoid stuff like that. But so I'm getting a lot of hate. I used to get a lot of hate, and still like saying that in the future, like it's never gonna work out with me, with anyone, that if I don't do this or that, I won't get there, and like stuff like that. And it never used to bother me unless when, like, my own friends started to do that, and like I'm not like with them anymore. But then it went to the point that like if you don't like approach people and all of that, you're not gonna ever be like accomplished or anything, and that, oh, you might have any problem with your sexuality or stuff like that. It went to that distance. And I won't tell you that I wasn't bothered with it, but I feel like it's getting to me, and I don't want to do, like, I'm still like sticking to what I want, and I'm not gonna just approach a guy just because I want to, like, so I don't know what to do about that.
I don't. I mean, I think.
Sorry.
No, that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, sorry for making it
No,
really
this is
long.
perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, definitely take a heart to share that. So I truly appreciate that. I take my hat off for you. The answer is very simple. Change your circle. I mean, proximity is power. Surround yourself with people that put you in a position to win. If these individuals don't see it for what that is, and they're not, they're not in line with your values and concepts, the thing that you appreciate about who you are and the things that you do, they need to go. Seriously, it's okay for you to let go of these guys and keep working on creating that circle that appreciate you for who you are and appreciate your value for who you are, and they want to put you at a position where you're winning. And it takes, like I said, it takes a heart to say what you just said. But that's exactly what you need to do. You need new friends. You need to continue to work on that. You need to continue to work on building that circle around you, to surround yourself with people that want what's best for you. If these are your values, I got your back. Literally, I got your back. That's it. Anybody else says anything? Nope, that's not what it is. No. And the minute start to change in a way that you don't like, and they'll right away give you that corrective. Yo, Noon, what are you doing? No, you got to stick to these values. You got to do these different things. And that's the power of proximity. Who you surround yourself with is definitely critical, and that's key. And that's going to be the answer to this question.
I also want to add a small thing, sorry, that I forgot to add. It's always girls that do that to me, that I have phobia from girls right now. Like, it's always, trust and believe, always girls. Like, that they have problem with me. So I just don't know, and I am afraid that in the future it will kind of affect me not wanting to have any kind of girlfriends anymore. And it is happening though.
I get it, but there's a lot of amazing girls out there. I mean, you probably just haven't, searched good enough to find them. But again, find you first. Learn to love yourself first, and then once you find yourself and loving yourself, then you go out there and you identify those people that will go that mile with you. And be very selective. You are very intelligent. You are very smart in so many different ways. I mean, just from a questionnaire and being who you are and trying to stay true to your authenticity, and that's critical. Stay true to who you are. Never change. These are some amazing values that we're bringing to the table. So never change that. If the people around you are hating on you, or whatever that is, and whatever that is trying to corrupt you in so many different ways, and they don't fit well with who you are, your core values, or your mission statement, vision statement, they need to go. Keep working on that circle and keep adding more amazing people into this. And reach out. I mean, like I said, within this group itself, like literally when you ask your question, about 6, 7 people said proximity, change your circle. Reach out to these guys. I say, what's up? Because they get it.
Hey, Noon. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut. I just thank you so much for sharing. I think that's such a great thing. And I think you already made the fact that you were so vulnerable of everyone, that was really beautiful. And I just wanted to share something that has been shared a lot with people that I know, that when you put off your vibe and your authentic self, you attract those people, and those people that aren't compatible with you, they naturally start to fall off. And so the more you are yourself, the more you attract people that are similar to you or that want to be around someone like you. So you should never ever change to try and fit into anywhere, because you'll find those people, like you'll find that place, and you'll find those people will naturally gravitate towards you, and they will be the right people, and they'll be your girlfriends, they'll be your guy friends. At the end of the day, they'll be the people that will always have your back. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Truly appreciate it. 7:45. We have a thought in a few minutes. Truly appreciate it. Tabarak, if you don't mind, bless us with that amazing dua. Please, please, please. That'd be awesome.
Awesome. And I was going to say, Noon, there's a bunch of people that dropped their Instagram handles, like connect with us. We want to be your friend. You have a new circle, and you're more than welcome.
Respect.
So is it right if we do something a little bit different today for the dua? I wanted to do like dua popcorn. I don't know. We've done that on my first live with Mindood. So basically, just unmute your mics, everybody, since this is our last workshop together. This was a learning experience. It's a growth experience. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to start with one dua, and we're all going to with a long and beautiful dua together. So I'll start. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, Ya Kareem, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Rahim, please bless this gathering. Please make us among those that among those that do good, bring good, and leave behind good in this dunya. Allahumma. Anyone else?
Ameen.
Go for it, Mindud.
يا رب إن شاء الله يعني may يعني ربنا reward Abdul Wahab for all that he's done, for sharing such incredible knowledge and insights, for endeavoring to like help better each and every one of us, and really just preaching words of kindness and thoughtfulness, inshallah. And may this Ramadan be a true blessing for all of us and all our loved ones. Ameen.
May Allah also continue to guide us in our journeys and self-reflection, and with the good and the bad and the ugly that comes with it. And may we maintain our self-love, and turn to God whenever we need Him.
May Allah bring people in our lives who bring us closer to our deen, to our iman, who make us remember Him. And may He push away anyone who has any toxic or any negative intentions for us, and only surround us with those who are righteous company. Ameen.
Amen. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين يا الله آمين يا رب.
آمين.
May we
I'll
be
go
able
next.
to use this. Oh, yeah, go for it.
No, go ahead, Addison. Go ahead.
May we be able to use the knowledge that you've given us to positively contribute to our communities, to be present with our families and our friends, and for us to improve our relationship with our close.
Ameen. May God bless you, Abdul Wahab, and everyone in this group as well. And may you all find your better half or other half, and may you never settle. Hashtag never settle.
Retweety.
آمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا اللهم اهدينا اللهم غيرنا للخير اللهم تقبل منا. Ya Allah, please help us to be genuine and to be genuine to ourselves and to the people around us. Please help us to always be under your guidance and to listen to our hearts and to open our hearts to you, Ya Allah, to ourselves and to the loved ones around us, and help us all find our partner in this life and help us build a life together here and in the hereafter. Ya Allah, Ya Kareem.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. That was beautiful, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Maybe have a great iftar. Great food for people that are starting. Thank you, and we'll see you on Thursday. If you guys have any other questions for AB, we'll be doing it on Instagram Live and to kind of continue the conversation.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Abdul Wahab.
Thank you so much.
So much, Abdul Wahab.
Got it.
Everyone, take care. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Good night.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.